behalf of the entire Quality Council of India, I humbly, cordially welcome all of you here. Thank you so much for taking out time today for this particular session. As I had informed you, we are just running by 10-12 minutes a bit late. The chief guest is on his way here. He should be here very soon. In the meantime, I would request Varsha ma'am, if you could just explain the agenda for the day and explain what exactly each agenda item entails. So thank you so much once again, and once again the tea coffee is there. In case you wish to go, it's up to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Raj, and a very warm welcome to all and good morning. Can I hear good morning from all of you?
Good morning.
Very good morning to each one of you. And as you know that Dr. Raj has already explained that our chief guest is on the way and he would be reaching bit 5-10 minutes late. Agenda has already been circulated to each one of you, but then I want to just make you like what we are going to cover through entire day. So today we are celebrating this World Accreditation Day, wherein we are talking about India's vision for Viksit Bharat by 2047. So the Viksit Bharat and the role of accreditation we are going to explain here. And accreditation not only talks about this global benchmarking, but also talks about the global standards, transparency, and trust within the MSME, because the theme of this year World Accreditation Day is how this accreditation is going to help, and accreditation is going to empower this small and medium enterprises, SMEs. The role of industry for the accreditation is already been explicitly maintained and mentioned in this accreditation through its scope sector initiatives, and also how the industry plays a crucial catalytic role in driving the accreditation practices among SMEs. We will be talking about the local SMEs. Our inaugural session, we will have honor to have a various sector-specific team leaders, CEOs, who are going to give us explicitly their role, how they are going to affect and tell us the accreditation has levied through their certification and inspection systems. We have a technical session, and also we have a launch of Q Mitra, which is a AI chatbot, which is to help the industry. And subsequently, we will be also having pledge, which is a Samarpan pledge, which will be taken by our industry partners, and they will be highlighting the role, how this accredited certification and inspection is playing role in this whole eco. Also, along with the launch of this Q Mitra, we are going to have a CEO session and technical session, which we are going to have with different NABL and NABCB participants, leaders, who are going to tell us like how this accreditation has played a major role in quality ecosystem. So I would request you all to please have a patience, have a seat, and please try to come up with so many new things which you can discuss together with each one of you. Thank you very much. Give me 5 or 10 minutes. I'll be back with more ideas, and let us, our special guest, our guest of honor took place on the seat. I will be again joining you here. Thank you so much.
हम नई सोच लेके आएंगे, क्वालिटी इंडिया बनाएंगे, हर आने वाले पल को और लिखेंगे कल को, जो कहा करके दिखाएंगे, क्वालिटी इंडिया बनाएंगे।
सपने बुनेंगे आसमानों में, हौसले अपनी उड़ानों में, खुशबू की होगी नामी, स्वच्छ होगी जमी, आबो हवा को महकाएंगे, क्वालिटी इंडिया बनाएंगे।
धरती से सोना उपजाएंगे, हर घर उजाला लेके आएंगे, शिक्षा के होंगे नारे, स्वस्थ होंगे सारे, मुस्काने होठों पे सजाएंगे, क्वालिटी इंडिया बनाएंगे। Let's sing together, guys. Oh, come on, India, sing together.
Quality Council of India.
चलो रोशन कर जाए बेहतर भारत की राहें, हम क्या है दुनिया को बताएंगे। न कच्चे वादे होंगे, पक्के इरादे होंगे, अब न कहीं भी रुक पाएंगे, नई तकनीक लेके आएंगे, उद्योगों को भी चमकाएंगे, शुद्ध हो जल के धारे, सबका जीवन संवारे, उन्नति मिलकर लाएंगे।
Apologies for that little confusion, but I'm sure the exercise will help everyone to go down and come back up again immediately. So our chief guest is almost on his way. He's reaching in a few minutes. I request our QCI team members to request all the dignitaries, all the guests, to escort them inside, please. Pooja, if you could allocate someone to get all the guests inside, please. They're right outside. Back to you, Varsha.
अभी ठीक है? कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं ऊंचा हो गया। There is a little change because instead of launch of Q Mitra, I got just information that we are going to do this NABL portal launch, which will be done today instead of Q Mitra. Q Mitra has already been launched, but today there are certain changes. So my apologies because this is the change, and this will be NABL revamped portal launch will be done today after the keynote address. This is just to inform you. और तो कोई चेंज नहीं है ना, और तो कोई चेंज नहीं है ना, क्योंकि यहाँ पर इसमें लिखा है, हमारे वाले एजेंडा में नहीं डालते, ये अलग है, ये पोर्टल नहीं होता, ये रिवैम्प पोर्टल है, तो ये हमारा जो पोर्टल है वो रिवैम्प, तो बस यही तो दिया है मैंने, नहीं है तो कि मैं तो बोल दिया ना मैंने कि नहीं, वो लॉन्च नहीं है, बोल तो दिया मैंने, अरे वही नहीं है, तो वही तो मैंने कहा इंस्टेड ऑफ दिस लॉन्च दिस विल बी डन टुडे। यस सर, प्लीज आ जाइए. गुड मॉर्निंग सर. गुड मॉर्निंग सर. गुड मॉर्निंग सर. ओके सर. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. May I request everyone to kindly rise for the national anthem, please.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा. विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा. तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे. गाहे तव जय गाथा. जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता. जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to World Accreditation Day 2025, a global observance highlighting the importance of accreditation in strengthening quality and trust across economies. This year theme, accreditation empowering small and medium enterprises, SMEs. This talks about the India's vision for the Viksit Bharat at 2047, where MSMEs serve as an engine for growth, innovation, and global competitiveness. We are honored here that we have today with us Amarjeet Singh Bhatia ji, Secretary DPIIT, Shri Jakshay Shah, Chairman Quality Council of India, Shri Kannan ji, Secretary General Quality Council of India, Dr. Ravi P. Singh, Chairman NABCB, Dr. Sandeep Shah, Chairman NABL, Ms. Hema Gauri Bhandari, Chief Advisor Quality Council of India, Shri N. Venkateswaran, NABL CEO, and Mr. Rajesh Maheshwari, CEO, NABCB. We now move to symbolic and auspicious moment, that lighting of the lamp, to mark the formal beginning of the day and today's celebration. May I request our esteemed dignitary to kindly join us on the stage for ceremonial lighting of the lamp. Thank you, dignitaries, for gracing this moment, illuminating the path towards today's quality, trust, and towards the Viksit Bharat. Now, I would request Shah Sir, Chairman QCI, to honor Shri Bhatia ji. आप सबसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप करतल ध्वनि से का स्वागत करें और अंग वस्त्र देकर शाह सर से रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि वो सेक्रेटरी श्री अमर जी भाटिया जी का स्वागत करें. इसी के साथ we will start the session with the welcome address, and now I will request Chairman NABCB Dr. R.P. Singh, and who is also the Provost of Adani University, to kindly begin the session with his welcome note. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's our proud pleasure that we have the Secretary DPIT with us as the chief guest. Jakshay Shah, our chairman, has always been one of the leading lights for many of the activities that we do. Mr. Kannan, the Secretary General, the Chief Advisor, Hema, our Chairman of NABL, Mr. Sandeep Shah, my two colleagues, Rajesh Maheshwari of NABCB, and our own Venkat for NABL. Let me congratulate all of you for this very auspicious occasion, which is the World Accreditation Day. Let me tell each and every one of you that World Accreditation Day is always a reminder that there is a huge network of conformity assessment bodies. Quite a few, almost all of you are from in some way or other associated with them. And this particular network of conformity assessment bodies plays a very pivotal role in reducing government spending as well as reducing oversight of regulators on any manufacturing or services industry. These accredited certification inspection bodies as well as the labs, which is collectively known as the TIC industry, testing, inspection and certification industry, plays a huge role in assuring the quality of every product and service that is manufactured or used by any economy out of 186 economies in the world which have a formal or an informal accreditation structure. I am extremely happy to note that there are quite a few government departments who have started using these certification, inspection and testing bodies in the process that they have, in the regulations that they have, or in the guidelines that they have. Most of these are actually very progressive in nature, and there has been quite a few which have actually started now considering that how to use these conformity assessment bodies in their overall network of quality assurance. I only wish, since the Secretary is already here, I wish to thank him and his predecessors, starting from Mr. Amitabh Kant to Ramesh Abhishek to we then had Anurag Jain, then we had Mr. R.K. Singh, and then we have Mr. Bhatia, who have helped us come to this level of acceptability in the market. And that is why the accreditation system in India is considered to be the 5th best out of 186 economies. Friends, I would not take much of your time because the Secretary will have to leave soon. But on behalf of all of you, I wish to place a few things for consideration of the Secretary. There is a bill which we have already submitted to DPIT for making QCI as the national accreditation body, and make a legislation that all foreign accreditation bodies which are operating in India without any oversight may have to declare their certifications on a common portal which can be owned either by QCI or by the DPIT, because it is very important. Lot of our own money is going outside without any formal system of acceptance of these certifications. We have also given a note, and it was actually discussed amongst the secretaries once, that there is a system of trade surveillance which should be started, so that all spurious products which are either coming to India or are manufactured in India, which poses risk to the health and safety of our citizens, must be stopped. These supply chains that bring in, import foreign goods into India make a huge dent into our economy, primarily because they hurt the MSMEs in India. Made in India, the concept was presented at least once to the Prime Minister. He had in principle agreed, and the Ministry of Steel has also already started putting up Made in India label all steel products. We would request the Secretary DPIT to make it available to other sectors as well. We were discussing with him, and I told him that PISO had earlier agreed that the boiler inspections would happen from the inspection bodies under NABCB. We would request him to kindly look into it, and there is a huge network of inspectors which can do this work pretty nicely. MSMEs are the backbone of Indian economic growth, and MSME, both the manufacturing as well as the trading MSMEs play a huge role. However, there is no distinction between the two. We have been asking the MSME ministry to put the manufacturing MSMEs and the trading MSMEs on two different pedestals, primarily because the trading MSMEs sometimes import the foreign goods which pose risk to the Indian citizens. I am extremely happy that we have built a very good relation with the DPIT, and they have been helping us over and over again from the last more than 10 years in order to establish a very robust system. मैं बार बार कहता हूं कि हमारी और DPIT की रिलेशनशिप चकोर और चांद की है. हम हमेशा चकोर की तरह चांद को देखते रहते हैं, और हमारा तो वन डायमेंशनल लव है, और हम चाहते हैं कि ये जो चांद है वो कभी कभी चकोर की बातों पे थोड़ा सा ध्यान दे करके कुछ और चीजें इस तरह की कर दे ताकि इंडियन growth story becomes well known. It is already well known, but it can become a towering example of economic growth in India and around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your thoughtful opening and empowering this power of quality infrastructure through your this global voice, which is raised from you for this global economy in terms of accreditation. Now, moving ahead, I will request CEO NABL for the joint message to read for the WAD 2025, and which will be followed by message from and the video message from Shah sir, who is the chairman from NABL.
Very good morning to everybody. Respected Secretary DPIIT, our QCI Chairman, Rexy sir. Our Secretary General QCI, Chief Advisor Hema ma'am, and Dr. R.P. Singh, Chairman NABCB, Dr. Sandeep Shah, Chairman NABL, my colleague Rajesh Maheshwari, CEO NABCB, all my colleagues who are there from NABL, and all the dignitaries. First, a warm welcome to you and I wish a very happy World Accreditation Day. So this is been done on every 9th June. It started from 2008. Actually, morning Hema ma'am was asking for what numbers to this. It is 17th World Accreditation Day is being celebrated. This time it is about MSME, empowering MSME. So this year theme spotlights the role that accreditation and conformity assessment playing in empowering SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, in driving economic growth, innovation and employment. SMEs represent 95% of businesses worldwide, accounting for 60 to 70% of employment and contribute up to 40% of national income in emerging markets. However, despite their importance to global prosperity, SMEs face challenges in accessing markets, competing on a level playing field, and demonstrating regulatory compliance as well as financial constraints that hinder their ability to grow and compete effectively. I'm here to read the message of ILAC Chair, who is a Feller, and then IAF Chair, Emmanuel Riva. The ILAC Chair said, World Accreditation Day 2025 highlights the critical role of accreditation and conformity assessment in empowering SMEs, strengthening their ability to compete, innovate, and expand in both domestic and international markets. Conformity assessment through testing, inspection, certification, validation, verification, and calibration ensures that products, services, and management systems meet recognized standards and regulatory requirements. It therefore provides a trusted and globally accepted framework for SMEs to thrive. IAF Chair said, accreditation is a flexible tool that operates across virtually every sector. It is therefore an essential tool for SMEs to drive sustainable growth, business resilience, and innovation. By reducing business risks and enhancing governance, accredited certifications provide SMEs with the operational guidance they need to thrive. We are proud to maintain close strategic partnerships with organizations such as UNIDO and WTO, as they both recognize the important role that accreditation plays in the achievement of the Sustainable Development Agenda and its impact on SME growth, employment opportunities, and industrial development. This World Accreditation Day focuses on how accreditation, supported by global mutual recognition arrangements established by ILAC and IAF, help SMEs to compete with larger, more established businesses. It demonstrates that they meet the requirements of regulators to open up new market opportunities, signifies credibility, and instills confidence with potential customers. Accreditation also helps drive internal efficiencies and improved company culture. This is evidenced through independent research data and case studies of SMEs that have benefited from the adoption of accredited conformity assessment. If you see, given their major contribution to job creation and global economic development, SMEs are an important part of achieving the UN Sustainable Development Goals. In particular, goal number 8, which is to promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth, employment, and decent work for all. And goal number 9, which is to build resilient infrastructure promote sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. So accreditation is a proven tool that enables SMEs to deliver this sustainable growth and innovation. This year's focus on SMEs aims to share examples of how accreditation supports SME growth with the aim of encouraging wider adoption of accreditation by SMEs across the global economy. This has been celebrated over 100 economies, and we encourage you to participate to promote accreditation in your economy or sector also. So before going for a video playing or a video message, I will request our chairman, Dr. Sandeep Shah. I mean, he has got a special address onto this in connect with this. I'll request our chairman NABL, Dr. Sandeep Shah, for his special address, please.
Respected Secretary, DPIT, Sri Amardeep Singh Ji Bhatia Ji Sir, Chairperson QCI Jakshay Shah, Secretary General Sri Chakravarti Kananji, Chief Advisory Srimati Hemagori Bhandari, Chairperson NABCB Dr. Ravi Singh Ji, CEO NABCB Sri Rajesh Maheshwari, and CEO NABL Sri Venkateshwaran, and my colleague, esteemed colleague, partners in the industry and the government, and members of the quality ecosystem, all of you, a very good morning to you. It's a privilege to join you today in the celebrating World Accreditation Day 2025. This year's theme is empowering the small and medium enterprises, strikes at the heart of the India's economic system, economic ambitions, and reflects our collective aspiration for a Viksit Bharat. Small and medium enterprises are not just a participation in our ecosystem, but it's an engines of the growth, employment and innovation. They shape India's production base, feed into large industries, and increasingly cater to global markets. And yet, in today's world, where quality is a currency, they face the challenge of providing a competence, gaining trust, and meeting both domestic and international expectations. India is poised for a global leap. Our demographics, entrepreneurial energy, and digital infrastructure are creating an environment where even the smallest player can have a global footprint. But for the leap to be trusted, measurable, and scalable, we need to ensure that quality is not just aspirational, it is embedded in our life. A national accreditation body under the Quality Council of India, NABL, plays a pivotal role in its transformation. Accreditation is the foundation of the trust in testing. It's a trust in testing and calibration and in the medical laboratory. And trust in the turn drives everything from public safety to trade facilitation, from innovation to consumer confidence. In our journey forward, one thing is clear: empowering begins with the listening. That's what I believe. And at NABL, we are committed to deepening our engagement with the SMEs, understanding their on-ground challenge, be it awareness gaps, procedural complexity, or operational constraints, and reflecting those voices in how we evolve. The voice from the Tier 2 and 3 cities, from the new age entrepreneurs and women-led enterprises must become central to our approach. We must not build system around the assumption, but we must build around the people. As we modernize, technology will be our bridge, not our barrier. NABL is remaining accreditation journey, reimagining the accreditation journey through a revised, intuitive digital portal that makes the application process simpler, faster, and more transparent. We are going to put the new portal also for the same. We are actively working to reduce the turnaround time and for the accreditation decision, offer greater visibility at every step, and ensure that laboratory, especially smaller ones, can navigate the process without intermediation. This is not about replacing a human engagement with the technology. It is about amplifying access, clarity, and support. More than certificates, accreditation must foster a culture of quality. We must shift the narrative from mere compliance of competence, credibility, and continuous improvement. And this cultural shift must begin from the grassroots, with every technician, every lab owner, and every MSME understanding that quality is not a burden, it is a bigger strength. So as we make this day, I would like to reaffirm the NABL's commitment to simplifying the access to accreditation, especially for smaller laboratories and emerging sectors, making our process more transparent, time-bound, and user-friendly. Building a feedback-driven system that learns and improves from the live experiences of our stakeholders, and most importantly, ensuring that accreditation is seen not as a hurdle, but as a partner in growth. Thank you.
Small and medium-sized enterprises, SMEs, are the engines of progress. They're the innovators, the job creators, the problem solvers. They're the backbone of economies globally, bringing vital products and services to communities everywhere. But in a world that's more connected and competitive than ever, how can these businesses truly thrive? The answer lies in accreditation. One of the most effective ways to showcase quality and competence is through the implementation of standards and third-party conformity assessments, which confirm compliance with standards. By evaluating the competence and impartiality of conformity assessment bodies, providing services like testing, calibration, validation/verification, inspection and certification, accreditation adds an extra layer of assurance, ensuring that products, services, systems and processes meet established criteria. It's a clear signal to customers and partners that a business operates with integrity and adheres to the highest standards, allowing SMEs to compete with larger corporations. Accreditation pushes SMEs to constantly improve, streamlining processes and fostering innovation. Implementing standards and using accredited conformity assessment establishes structured processes supporting consistency in products and services. This helps SMEs reduce errors, minimise rework and duplication, and improve overall efficiency. These benefits lead to cost savings, which can be reinvested into growth. For SMEs looking to expand their reach, accreditation is invaluable. It's a passport to new markets, demonstrating that their products and services are reliable, trustworthy, and comply with regulations. This growth directly translates to fostering job creation and economic growth, benefiting communities worldwide. Climate change, biodiversity loss, and resource depletion are already causing significant harm to communities, ecosystems, and the global economy. Consensus-based standards and accredited conformity assessments are essential in enhancing sustainability performance. They provide a framework for businesses to implement sustainable practices and independently verify progress towards sustainability goals. For SMEs, this not only improves their environmental impact, but also boosts their credibility, making them more attractive to eco-conscious consumers and potential business partners. By adopting data protection standards with accredited certification, SMEs can assure consumers that their data will remain secure, a vital element of trust in today's digital world. This helps them to demonstrate compliance with regulations, protect reputation, and earn the trust of customers. Standards and accredited conformity assessment help SMEs cultivate a strong company culture by promoting a structured, transparent, and quality-focused work environment. Standardized processes and best practices foster accountability and efficiency, ensuring employees clearly understand their roles and responsibilities. This clarity enhances job satisfaction and motivation and encourages open communication and teamwork, uniting employees around shared objectives and quality benchmarks. World Accreditation Day 2025 is a celebration of the power of accreditation. By providing a globally recognised mark of quality and competence, accreditation helps unlock opportunities, build trust, and pave the way for a more sustainable future for all. World Accreditation Day 2025. Accreditation, empowering small and medium enterprises.
So in conclusion, I must say that accreditation must become a bridge between ambitions, achievement, self-satisfaction, self-motivation for all the India small enterprise. When even the smallest lab in the remotest corner can proudly say that we are accredited, we move closer to our shared vision of trustworthy, self-reliant and globally respected India. Let us pledge today that in our pursuit of Viksit Bharat, quality will be our signature and trust will be our legacy. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your global perspective and launching us into the day's narrative. With this, I would like to invite Chairperson QCI, and I just wanted to introduce him, even though he doesn't need any introduction, but okay, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Chalo. Shri Amardeep Singh Bhatia ji, Secretary DPIT, my fellow mates, my teammates on the dais, off the dais. Namaskar. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome all of you to this year's celebration of World Accreditation Day, a day that unites us in a shared mission to champion quality, build trust, and enable inclusive growth through accreditation. Personally, I am especially delighted to welcome Shri Amardeep Singh Bhatia ji, Secretary Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade DPIT, who has graciously joined us today. Friends, DPIT has always stood as a pillar of strength and guidance for QCI. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank Sri Piyush ji, Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, for the unwavering faith, trust, and confidence he has shown in QCI. His consistent encouragement has been a source of inspiration and strength for our efforts in mainstreaming quality as a national mission. सर, फॉर्चुनेटली अनफॉर्चुनेटली आज की डेट में इंडिया में जीडीपी के नंबर्स हमारे पास हैं, प्रोडक्शन के, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के नंबर्स हैं, पोर्ट्स एंड एयरपोर्ट्स पे हमारे पास एक्सपोर्ट इंपोर्ट्स के सारे आंकड़े हैं सर. बट नाउ द टाइम हैज़ आ गया है अभी सर, और ऑनरेबल पीएम ने जो विज़न रखा है, नाउ वी मस्ट सी कि कौन सी क्वालिटी का माल इंडिया में आ रहा है, कौन सी क्वालिटी का जा रहा है, एंड ऑफ कोर्स डोमेस्टिकली कौन सी क्वालिटी का माल यहाँ पर बन रहा है. एंड with that, I also extend a warm welcome to the CEOs and business leaders present here today. Your presence is symbolic of a larger truth that the commitment of quality must come from within industry. And that voluntary adoption of accreditation, as we have seen through our Gunvatta Samarpan initiative, can lead to real transformation. This initiative, which encourages organizations to publicly pledge to uphold accreditation standards, is not merely a ceremonial. It reflects a deep-seated belief that quality is not just compliance or a checklist. It is a conviction, and quality is a birthright too. As we look ahead, Viksit Bharat 2047, friends, we must never lose sight of the fact that our MSMEs are the backbone of India's economy. So मैं यहाँ पर आपके कुछ आंकड़े देना चाहता हूँ. They account for over 63 million enterprises, employs more than 110 million Indians, and contribute nearly 30% of GDP and 40% to exports. But the hard truth, the beneath this impressive numbers lies a complex reality, sir. Majority of our MSMEs, over 80% maybe, operate as micro units, and more than 81% are proprietorship. Many of these face severe financial constraint, lack access of formal skilling, and operate without any structural exposure to quality standards. For that, we must ask ourselves, friends, how do we expect an MSME producing textile goods in Ludhiana or automotive parts in Rewari to break into global value chain, and it does not have access to modern design processes, testing infrastructure, or accredited process that signal credibility? Or consider a food processing unit in a tribal belt in Odisha. It may have the raw materials and entrepreneurial spirit, but without accreditation, without clear quality benchmarks, its goods struggle to reach major urban or export markets, friends. This is where accreditation become a transformative tool. It serves as a gateway to trust. It helps MSME align with the global expectations, opens up new markets, reduce rejection rates, and enhances productivity. But more than anything else, accreditation begins the quality journey. A journey that can raise the MSME from being a local producer to becoming a global supplier. It enables MSME to participate in procurement system, both government and private. It allows them to signal their seriousness and reliability to larger players. It is, in every sense, the difference between competing and thriving. Friends, at QCI, sir, we recognize that the quality to truly spread across the country, it must be seen not as a burden, but as a source of pride. That is why we are working to make journey simpler, more inclusive, and more accessible to all. One key lesson is that MSME need supportive ecosystem. They do not operate in isolation. They thrive when institutions, suppliers, financiers, and policy bodies work together in clusters. Today, we must reimagine this cluster not as administrative categories, but as living ecosystem. In regions like Surat, Tirupur, or Pune, where quality, technology, and entrepreneurs feed into each other. We also know that many MSME lack the capacity to navigate complex paperwork or digital systems. That's why we are investing in technological simplification and last mile access. We are reducing turnaround times for accreditation, making assessment more transparent, and working to digitally unify QCI service into one seamless platform. और सर ये हम लिप सर्विस नहीं कर रहे, वी मीन दैट व्हाट वी स्पीक सर, एंड विल अफर्म, ये हम आपको एक आश्वासन या कंफर्मेशन देना चाहते हैं कि QCI, NABL, NABH इसके पीछे काम करेगी. We believe that quality must be delivered at the speed of trust, and that's why we are striving to build. Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has often spoken of India's transformation from a fear of doing business to ease of doing business. For us at QCI, this is not just a vision, it is a guiding principle. Every reform we undertake, every system we build, every interface we simplify, it is aimed at one goal: making quality accessible, understandable, and empowering. Friends, this is not just beginning. As we move ahead, we want to listen from you. To the business leader, the accreditation seekers, the policy maker, and the frontline MSMEs. Tell us what you need. Help us build a quality system that is not only efficient but empathetic. One that understands that for MSME, quality must be easy to understand, affordable to access, and valuable to retain. Let us work toward to ensure that every product stamped made in India, friends, is also made with quality. Let us empower every MSME to dream bigger, deliver better, and compete stronger. And let us reaffirm our collective samarpan to quality, not just for the business advantage, but also for the national transformations. Thank you once again for joining us today, friends. Let us commit ourselves to building a future where quality is not just a destination, but a daily practice for every enterprise, every stakeholders, and every citizen. Thank you, Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for your powerful word and making this quality a cornerstone for Viksit Bharat. एंड इसी दिशा में अभी आगे बढ़ते हुए क्वालिटी काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया का एक और इनिशिएटिव है जिसके लिए मैं NABL की टीम को आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी और इसके पहले आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट श्री भाटिया जी क्योंकि आज हम NABL का एक रिवैम्प पोर्टल को लॉन्च कर रहे हैं, सो आई विल रिक्वेस्ट भाटिया सर फॉर द रिवैम्पिंग दिस NABL portal which is now revamped, and this has been revamped to make this accreditation accessible to each one and each MSME sector. A round of applause from all of you, please.
NABL मान्यता की यात्रा अब एक नए अध्याय में प्रवेश कर रही है। Introducing the new NABL portal. अब मेडिकल लैब्स के लिए NABL मान्यता पाना होगा आसान, तेज और भरोसेमंद। ये पोर्टल मल्टी यूजर एक्सेस सपोर्ट करता है। अब टीम के हर सदस्य मिलकर डेटा भर सकते हैं। मास्टर ड्रिवन सिलेक्शन से मैनुअल एंट्री कम और कंसिस्टेंसी ज्यादा। हर जरूरी डॉक्यूमेंट के लिए प्री रजिस्ट्रेशन चेकलिस्ट्स और स्टैंडर्डाइज्ड टेम्पलेट्स भी उपलब्ध हैं। ये पोर्टल मेडिकल लैब्स के वर्कफ्लो को ध्यान में रखकर डिजाइन किया गया है। प्रोफाइल, HR, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, इक्विपमेंट, टेस्टिंग स्कीम्स तक हर चरण है लॉजिकल। अब भारत के गांव से लेकर शहरों तक हर लैब को मिलेगा आसान, सुलभ और गुणवत्तापूर्ण आवेदन। यह बदलाव ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस को देता है एक नई दिशा और NABL मान्यता अब सिर्फ 30 कार्य दिनों में संभव। नए इंटरफेस के साथ यूजर्स आसानी से अडेप्ट कर सकते हैं। पोर्टल 24/7 उपलब्ध है, मोबाइल और वेब दोनों पर। अब मेडिकल लैब्स के लिए आवेदन प्रक्रिया पहले से कहीं ज्यादा सहज। भारत के ग्रास रूट्स तक गुणवत्ता पहुंचाने की दिशा में QCI का एक बड़ा कदम, NABL का पोर्टल। अब हर मेडिकल लैब के लिए भरोसेमंद टेस्टिंग और NABL मान्यता पाना होगा और भी आसान। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी के विकसित भारत के संकल्प को साकार करने के लिए हर कोने कोने तक गुणवत्ता की गंगा ले जाने के लिए QCI है कटिबद्ध। आज ही इस बदलाव का हिस्सा बनिए और अपनी लैब को गुणवत्ता की अगली सीढ़ी पर ले जाइए।
Now with this, we will move ahead with the Gunvatta Samarpan, which is again QCI's India's commitment to the accreditation, and we now move to the special segment where we celebrate the commitment of Indian industry to quality and accreditation. And इसके लिए मैं श्री कन्नन जी को बुलाना चाहूँगी, जिसमें कि ये आपको ये समझ में आएगा जैसे कि हमारे शाह सर ने एक वन QCI को लेकर अपना सपना जो एक आज पूरा किया है और उसी के साथ कैसे हम accreditation को समर्पित करते हैं MSME के लिए। प्लीज सर।
Good morning, everyone. Respected dignitaries, Sri Amardeep Singh Bhatia sir, Sri Jakshay, my colleagues Ravi, Sandeep, the CEOs Venkat, Rajesh, and my colleague Hema, and the audience. Honorable PM had unveiled aspiration of Viksit Bharat 2047. Towards that, the role of quality infrastructure ecosystem is very, very critical. Though we are ranked top 5 globally, our aspiration is how can we accelerate this journey and how QCI along with all of you can move this ecosystem to be among the top 3. Towards this, the role of MSME in this journey of Viksit Bharat as well as building quality infrastructure is very critical. Government has taken several initiatives to improve MSME quality ecosystem. Zero defect is one of the big programs which is driving quality excellence across the MSME ecosystem. Rightly, today's theme of World Accreditation Day, empowering MSME through the accreditation, is one of the critical steps towards building a robust MSME quality ecosystem. Looking back, 1 year back when I joined, our chairman has challenged all of us. The quality to the branded chained labs or hospital versus quality reaching last mile. There is a big difference. If India has to achieve Viksit Bharat status, quality need to reach last mile. That was the challenge our chairman gave it to us. Initially, we were wondering how to go about. And then, happy to say the QCI team together conceptualized Gunvarta Yatra, where we visit every city, assemble all the quality ambassadors like many of you, explain the accreditation process and how can we handhold to enable people to join the quality journey. What started like a small thing now has developed into a major quality force. It's flowing like Ganges. I'm happy to share a few of the statistics. If I look back, NABL has completed almost 134 yatras covering 95 cities. In that process, almost 6,583 quality ambassadors, we have built capacities for them. Other flagship, understanding the importance of this Gunvarta Yatra, we were able to partner with Gujarat government. In this Gujarat Gunvarta Yatra, the theme was how do we build capacities for the MSMEs. The Gunvarta Yatra covered close to 6,000 plus kilometers, covering 33 districts, more than 7,000 ambassadors, and it took us 56 days to complete. What started as a yatra will change how the quality infrastructure ecosystem will develop across India. While planning that World Accreditation Day, I was discussing with few of the CEOs of our stakeholder ecosystem. Somehow, some of you mentioned that Yatra is a bottoms-up approach. We should do also the top-down approach. That's how we formed this Gunvarta Samarpan. What is this Gunvarta Samarpan? This is a commitment most of the CEOs are making towards Atmanirbhar Bharat. How we will use Indian standard versus following some other global standard. Driving excellence across, how the labs can become 100% accredited, whatever is in your ecosystem, how it will be 100% accredited. The last is the last mile quality, how each one of you will drive quality across your value chain. It is not enough you being accredited, it is also critical your entire value chain has to be accredited. Towards this journey, I am very happy to say close to 25 plus firms have agreed to join this journey. I am sure many more will join. I thank each one of the Samarpan participants for coming forward to start this journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your remarks. And now I will request Secretary DPIT and Chairman, sir, to formally launch the Samarpan Pledge for all the CEOs. And later on in the CEO session, we will be handing over to each one of you who are participation in today's Samarpan Pledge. और इसी के साथ मैं श्री भाटिया सर से आवेदन निमंत्रण करूंगी उनको यहाँ पर उनके रिमार्क्स के लिए। भाटिया सर।
Good morning, everyone. Mr. Jakshisa, Chairman QCI, Chairman from NABCB, NABL, and officials from both the organizations, as well as QCI, members of the audience who are, I'm told, from SMEs, as well as the various assessment bodies, various laboratories and testing facilities which we have across the country, which are also called conformity assessment bodies. It's indeed a pleasure to be here among all of you for this World Accreditation Day 2025, which we are celebrating along with the rest of the world, with the theme Accreditation Empowering Small and Medium Enterprises. It's indeed a very important and apt topic for this year, especially for our country. Now, before I go into the other parts, let me start with two of the objectives given to us by Honorable Prime Minister, which are guiding us in our activities. One is Viksit Bharat by 2047, Developed India by 2047. If we have to achieve this, we have to grow at a very steady and rapid pace to grow from around 4.2 billion, from 4.2 trillion to a 30 trillion economy by 2047. Secondly, what the Honorable Prime Minister has told us, that we have to build an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, what do we mean by Atmanirbhar Bharat? Now, Atmanirbhar Bharat is clarified, it's not an insular India. It's an India which is confident, self-reliant, but also connected with the world. It is an India which makes for India, makes in India, makes in India, makes for India, but also makes for the world. Now, in our discussions, if we have our discussions on quality or any other aspect, at least in DPIT, we keep these two perspectives in mind. So I'm very happy to note that over the last many years, QCI has been able to build a good and robust ecosystem of conformity assessment bodies. We have two key bodies of NABL and NABCB. As all of you know, both have very distinct tasks marked for them. NABCB, I'm told, has around 112 certification bodies which look into the entire gamut of processes, management systems, sustainability aspects, ISO standards, building material standards, product standards, and we have more than 125 inspection bodies. We also have the NABL, which looks into the testing, which accredits testing laboratories, laboratories which not only test but also which help in calibration of other laboratories, but also provide the reference standards for other laboratories. It also accredits the medical laboratories, which are again very essential. Now, this is one aspect of the quality ecosystem which we are trying to develop. But if we go a step back, what is it we are trying to aspire for? So there are standards which are measured by these bodies, conformity assessment bodies. Where do these come from? Now these standards are what? These standards, all of you know, I don't need to tell you, but still let me recount for giving a reference point to all of us. We have the process standards, we have the product standards, we have standards for delivery of services. We have these standards laid down by international bodies. We have, for example, the ISO standards, we have various other standards. We have our national standards also. We have the QCO's mandate in certain products that yes, these standards have to be mandatorily adopted. So if we look at it from that perspective, again we have the mandatory standards and also the voluntary standards. And we have the new kind of certifications which have come in, which are becoming extremely important, is with regard to the sustainability certifications, with regard to whether you are following the standards laid down for sustainable practices in your manufacturing processes, in your delivery of services, and these are becoming extremely important. Now, if we have to grow, we have to ensure that we not only produce services and product for our local market, but also produce it for the global markets. If we have to grow in scale, which is very important, if we have to grow nationally, if our companies have to grow in scale, we have to have access to the domestic market as well as the international market. Now, if we have to do that, we have to assure that both the markets, that the products and services that we deliver are up to a certain quality. They are assured of quality. Now, if that is what is required, how do we do it? We have all these bodies which are there, the certification bodies, the inspection bodies. What is the role they play? How do you ensure that these products and services are up to the standards, not only the national standards, but also the international standards? It is the responsibility of all of us in the ecosystem to ensure that our quality also improves. Our quality is acceptable across the world. We match the aspirations of an international consumer. Our stamp, when we give our assurance with regard to quality, that assurance is acceptable across the world. We rely a lot on machines which we import. In fact, most of the machines, I think, which we use for our testing and certification, wherever these machines are used, are imported, and the quality of these keep on improving, and the aspirations to have better standards also keep on improving. Sometimes, of course, there are different motivations to keep improving, keep making the standards more and more difficult to achieve, but quite a lot of time it's the aspirations of the consumers which wants the product standards to be of a higher level. So our dependence on these machines is something I think we need to look at also while we look at achieving international standards and ensuring that our bodies, our testing bodies, aim to achieve those international standards. So machines are one part of it. Ensuring that those machines work, ensuring that machines works fall on the manner in which the human resources which manage these machines operate these. Most of the work, therefore, is on how we train our human resources, how the human resources ensure that protocols are followed, how the human resources ensure that the standards which we aspire for in ensuring quality for our products and services are followed to the T, are not compromised at all. And this is the responsibility of all of you. This is the responsibility which is enjoined on all the bodies, the certification, testing, inspection bodies, TIC, as somebody was saying, is enjoined on all of you to ensure. And I am very sure with the Gunvata programs which are aimed not only at the SMEs but also at the laboratories, at the testing facilities, they'll be able to ensure that. Now, this is one aspect of the work which is done. The other aspect also is extremely important, extremely important, because you are dealing with public safety, you are dealing with health concerns. When you are talking of laboratories, I have myself seen, I am from Nagaland Kadar, and I've spent quite a lot of my career, almost half my career in Nagaland, and I have seen the way in which, if the standards are not followed by laboratories, how it can impact the health of a person. It is extremely important, therefore, that the accreditation that we give to the health laboratories, is done with extreme consciousness of the responsibility that we carry. It is also extremely important that those testing or inspections we carry out for those safety equipment, for example, boilers inspection is carried out. For example, if any storage tanks, it was mentioned that PESO has not agreed to. Let's see, we'll go forward and talk to them also and see how we can move forward. But it is also then extremely important that these equipment are also up to the standard and not compromised to the T. Compromised at all, because if you compromise, these can lead to public health, public safety concerns also. So that's the other aspect which I think the facilities which are being created, the ecosystem which is being created, has to perform. And the third aspect, which is being performed by QCI in collaboration with MSME, Ministry, and in collaboration with industry chambers, is upgrading the standards of SMEs. And as pointed out in the video also, and in the delivery of addresses by esteemed dignitaries on the dais, SMEs are what drives exports. I think around 40% of our exports is 43% of our exports come from SMEs. And if they are able to export 43%, and if they have to expand, they have to ensure the quality. They have to ensure that it is quality product that they deliver. It's not only for delivery of product, but also for the benefits that accrue out of the standardized processes and following standards for products that accrue to SMEs. It helps them increase their profitability, helps them put in place practices which allows them to grow, which if an SME has to scale up, has to has an ambition to grow bigger, has an ambition to grow not only in India but also abroad, then it has to grow big, for which it needs good processes, and this is where standardization helps. So this is also something which QCI is working with with MSME through the Zero Defect program, which is a good program. I hope that we are able to scale it up and make the best use of this. In DPIT, we are also extremely concerned about ease of doing business. We have taken a lot of steps, as all of you know, in easing regulatory aspects. We have removed compliances, removed deregulated, decriminalization also has been done on emission mode. We had one Jan Vishwas bill, another Jan Vishwas bill is going to come in, where the number of criminal provisions are being reduced. Number of compliances have been simplified. As part of this deregulation process, one important thing which we are doing, in fact, which I was discussing just before this meeting, was how to remove the inspection requirements, how to outsource the inspection to third-party inspection agencies. There are still some acts where it is still inspections are being done by government. That provision is to, I think it may remain, but quite a large part of the inspections can be outsourced to third-party agencies. And this is also something we would like to pursue. In fact, I was talking to QCI and asking if we can have a framework of the acts where inspections are still done in-house by government inspection agencies, government itself, if we can work out a framework within which we can bring in third-party inspection agencies, whether it is in fire inspections, whether it is in Factories Act inspections, whether it is in drug-related inspections. If we can work out good frameworks for, and these have to be specific to each of the acts, and also will have to depend on the maturity of the inspection frameworks, inspection agencies that we have, we can take it forward. But if we have to take it forward, we also have to be conscious that when we assign this responsibility, this important responsibility which comes with responsibility of ensuring public health, responsibility of ensuring public safety, we will have to be liable for any misdemeanor also. So that's also something I think we'll have to keep in mind. So there's a lot of things which needs to be done, which are being done also. I'm very happy that QCI has launched this portal, which makes it easier for its stakeholders to access services and access services in a faster manner. And I'm very sure they'll continue doing this and not only keep improving their internal processes, but also in the manner in which they reach out, make it more efficient in reaching with them. So before closing, I would like to say that it's a responsibility of all of us. It's a collective responsibility, not only the government's responsibility, government body's responsibility, but also QCI, NABL, NABCB, the conformity assessment bodies, the large enterprises, MSMEs, as well as the industry associations. All of us have to work together to ensure that the quality standards, the process standards that we have set for ourselves, or that we aspire for, those are achieved. And those can be done only if we work together. And if we achieve that, if we are able to do that, then only we'll be able to. This is an essential requirement, not something which can be an optional thing. This is an essential requirement which will have to be achieved if we have to achieve the goal of Viksit Bharat, which has been set to us by Honorable Prime Minister. Thank you very much. I hope we'll be able to live up to those expectations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your inspiring word and how this accreditation is supporting MSME through handholding and make the accreditation accessible and easier for all the stakeholders and industries. With this, I will request SGQCI to hand over a token of respect to Bhatia, sir. इसी के साथ मैं सारे हमारे जितने भी समर्पण के साथी हैं, सीईओज हैं, उनको डाइस पर आमंत्रित करना चाहूंगी कि वो प्लीज प्लेटफॉर्म पर स्टेज पे आ जाएं, जिससे कि हम साथ में ऑनर कर सके और आज हमारे द्वारा लॉन्च हुआ समर्पण प्लेज को एक साथ कर सके, जिसका कि हम सेपरेटली सीईओ सेशन भी हैंड ओवर करेंगे. प्लीज जॉइन अस ऑन द स्टेज, ऑल द सीईओज फ्रॉम द इंडस्ट्री हु आर कमिटेड फॉर टुडेज क्वालिटी समर्पण. प्लीज जॉइन अस ऑन द स्टेज एंड राउंड ऑफ अप्लॉज फ्रॉम ईच वन ऑफ यू. Please join us. We have only few certificates, but we will hand over each and every Samarpan pledge to each one of you during the CEO session. So this is a moment where we can see how this our industry is also committed equally for the accreditation, not only the accreditation bodies, but this accredited certification and inspection system working for the growth for the industry of all medium and small industry, as well as the growth of India for the quality and Viksit Bharat at 2047. A round of applause from each one of you, please. Thank you everyone for joining us on the stage. You can please take your seat and we will be formally handing over all the certificate to you during the CEO session. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone. Now to conclude the inaugural session, I would request Ms. Hima Bhandari, Chief Advisor of Quality Council of India, so kindly conclude the session with his concluding remarks. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes. So good afternoon to all. Yeah, seeing the paucity of time, I would keep it quick. I'd like to take this moment to begin with expressing my sincere gratitude to all those in attendance on this significant occasion of World Accreditation Day 2025. Your presence and your words have been truly inspiring. And on the theme of accreditation, empowering small and medium enterprises. A special thank to Shri Amardeep Singh Bhatia sir, Secretary DPIT, for his address on the strategic focus on quality infrastructure, supporting MSMEs, and which is the cornerstone of our national quality movement. Indeed, SMEs are the backbone of the Indian economy, driving innovation, entrepreneurship, and contributing significantly to GDP and employment. Accreditation, as we all know, is not merely a compliance tool, but a strategic imperative that instills global standards, transparency, trust, propelling the MSMEs onto the global stage. I would also thank Sri Jakshay Shah, Chairman QCI, Chairman NABCB, and Chairman NABL too for their speeches and their insightful addresses. Our collective vision and leadership has been, their collective vision and leadership has been truly instrumental in organizing today's event, and their unwavering support and dedication to strengthen our quality journey of the Quality Council. Finally, I would like to thank all the esteemed guests present here, representatives from the PSUs, MSMEs and private organizations, the presence of conformity assessment bodies on your valuable contributions to our journey. Your active participation underscores a collective commitment in building a quality nation. Lastly, thank my colleagues on Quality Council of India who have been partnering in this journey together. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, ma'am, for your concluding remark. Now we will be over with the inaugural session, and we will request everyone to please join us on the tea break and networking. After that, we will be joining again with the CEO session and technical session.
Request everyone to kindly proceed downstairs for the tea, and this time I promise you I will not get you back immediately. 20 minutes is the time that we have. Within 20 minutes, kindly come back for the tech.
Dr. Rohit Chawla, he is a professor, Maulana Azad Medical College. Please come on the stage. Dr. Ramanand Shukla, he is a senior director, NDI Quality Council of India. Dr. K.M. Iyer, he is our expert for GHG. So to begin with this session, I would like to introduce Dr. J.S. Reddy, who is Additional Director to Export Inspection Council, and previously he served for a decade as a Directorate of Marketing and Inspection, Ministry of Agriculture. He has represented India at a key international platforms like Codex, FAO, WTO, USFDA, and he holds a postgraduate degree in veterinary sciences. And today he will be talking on accreditation and MSME and edge towards the development of international trading, community and export trade facilitation. Over to you, sir. Please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Respected dignitaries on the dais and friends from stakeholder industries of the dais. Very good afternoon. Hope I am audible enough for those sitting on the. Thank you for confirming. So when we look at export trade facilitation through accreditation ecosystem, as I belongs to the sector agribusiness or food commodities, my examples are more tilted towards those commodities only. So when we look at global trade, just forget about recent incidents of one country imposing tariffs against many countries. Apart from that, when we look global trade, over a period, the tariffs have come down drastically, so that it given level playing field for many countries, including SMEs. But at the same time, to protect their domestic industries, different countries have started using other measures to protect their domestic industries or restrict the export from other countries, that in terms of non-tariff barriers. So when we look at what are those non-tariff barriers, there are a number of things, but as far as agribusiness and food sector is concerned, we are concerned with two items, that is technical barriers to trade and sanitary and phytosanitary measures. As we all know, technical barriers to trades in terms of saying whether that particular product is not conforming or not certified by conformity assessment body, or a product labeled certain thing mismatching, all those type of barriers will be there. When we look at sanitary and phytosanitary measures, especially any country have right to put certain standards to protect their plant population, their human population as well as their animal populations from the ingress of any pests or diseases coming through the imported commodity. So when we look at examples like some of the exports are suffering because of certain incidents of bird flu in one pocket or other pocket. Anyway, India is free from mad cow disease, but still many countries insist that we need to certify that. And if another, especially bovine meat exports are affected by, as country India, incidences of foot and mouth diseases are once in a while are reported in some part or other part of the country. And when we look at agricultural products, these MRLs as the major issue which we are facing from different countries. So in this increasingly competitive global landscape, the abilities of SMEs especially to access international markets depends upon how they are meeting those global quality, safety and regulatory standards of the importing country. So Export Inspection Council, in short I will say EIC, plays a vital role in this space, offering overall accredited ecosystem that empowers SMEs, which will facilitate a seamless export trade. So it is EIC provides services not only to the big players, even small players, SMEs, everybody is like inclusive in terms of this accredited ecosystem. When we look at how EIC is controlling export control program, there are 4 major pillars, that is regulation, inspection, testing and certification. Regulation, any importing country want to see in the exporting country whether there is any regulation is there which is backed up by legal system. If legally it is regulated, then they have confidence on that certification system, that is regulation part. Inspection, this inspection of the export establishments and supply chains which are involved in that entire export chain. And testing of at various stages of the supply chain, right from raw material, where it is sourced, traceability, how it is processed and how it is exported or how it is transported. So testing is required at different stages, we will see in few slides next. And ultimately the certification. Certification is the, you can say final product which will help the exporter in the sense that when the consignment is accompanied by the export certificate, the testing and sampling at the importing country border is limited. That means every consignment exported need not be tested again at the exporting country border. So that is the facilitation through this type of certification. When we look at all these pillars, the last 3 pillars are very important in the sense almost all 3 pillars involves a sort of accredited system is required in the inspection, testing and certification. So EIC, as you know, the body under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, which is official certification body, and it is closely working along with the integrated process of NABL through robust accreditation framework, and Indian exporters are able to meet these requirements of Indian international buyers or importing country regulatory authorities. So by providing certification, inspection and testing services, EIC is minimizing the trade barriers which we are seen earlier, say in terms of SPS measures or technical barriers to trade. So it is set up through an Act of Parliament in 1964. We are in the provision of these services for more than 6 decades, and the basic objective is to provide sound development of export trade through quality control and inspection with a vision to facilitate worldwide access for our Indian products through a credible and efficient inspection and certification system. And the strength of EIC is that it is an official certification body which doesn't have any conflict of interest in the sense we are autonomous statutory body, we are not burdened with any objective of promoting exports. So that way international regulatory authorities will see EIC certification in a positive light. That is the strength of EIC. And when we look at outreach of EIC, it is headquartered in New Delhi, and we are providing the services to the export fraternity through our field organization, what we call export inspection agencies. We have 5, we can say, regional offices, that is Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Kochi and Kolkata. Under each regional office we have sub offices at 24 strategic locations. When we see their geographical spacing or spread across the country, we can see the concentration along the coast of India, coastline of India. This is, as you very well understand, that we are into business of agri-commodities which are bulk in the nature and mostly transported through seaports. That's why we are closer at the exit point, providing services to the export fraternity. These are the notified commodities. When I say notified commodities, means these commodities need to be ultimately subjected to the inspection and certification by EIS before leaving the Indian borders. So major commodities of exports, you can see the fish and fishery products, basmati rice, non-basmati rice for European Union, milk and milk products, egg products, fruits and vegetable, peanut and peanut products for certain group of countries like EU, Malaysia, and recently Singapore also insisted certification by EAC. Honey, poultry meat products, feed additive premixtures, animal casing, salt, processed meat products, food supplements containing botanicals. This is the emerging area. Nutraceuticals, EIC is certifying those products as well for the export purpose. Hops and hop products, which is an ingredient used in the beer industry, especially in the preparation of beer. So for EU, EIC is the authorized body to issue certification. So how EIC is doing, how important is this laboratory ecosystem and accreditation system? When we look at testing of these commodities or raw materials are required at various stages of production for various countries. It depends on the country regulation, importing country regulation, as well as the type of quality control system we need to ensure that give the guarantee of that quality assurance. For example, shrimps or prawns exported to European Union are subjected at farm level testing, that is what we call pre-harvest test, means farm before harvesting from the pond itself, it is tested for certain antibiotic residues which are prohibited in the European Union. So once harvested, the processing establishments also test at their own level all the incoming raw material before processing to see any possible contamination with the any undesirable microorganisms. As a part of official control, EAC or EIS will also do monitoring and supervision of this entire supply chain, right from production stage, farm stage to the processing and dispatch stage. As a part of that also, officials will draw certain samples, what we call hygiene samples, which are also be tested at accredited laboratories to give confidence to our certification system by the importing countries. So some of the countries require to gain market access as well as to maintain the market access, a national residue control plan or residue monitoring plan to be in place so that we can say undesirable contaminants are within the limits, or rather than testing every consignment, we have a national plan. So based on our production capacities, this sampling will be distributed across the country. And finally, pre-export test is one test which certain countries are required to be produced along with the certification. That is finished products after processing and packing, the samples are drawn from that stage and subjected to the pre-export testing. So you can imagine the level of testing required, especially for agri and food commodities. It is unlike industrial products. Industrial products have mostly homogeneous and doesn't have such variations, because our products coming from small farms, small farmers, and the crops are grown or animals are reared in different what we can say is agroecological zones, as well as different practices of rearing or growing the crops. So such diversity we have to take into consideration while devising these ecosystems of accreditation or testing, so that our products doesn't fail at the destination. So EIC has our own laboratories, around 8 in number at present. Apart from this, whichever meeting the importing country requirements per particular country as well as particular product category, EIC recognizes 73 laboratories also, which will be catering to needs of agricultural and food commodity exports. So apart from that, 4 of our EIS is providing proficiency testing services under ISO 14073. Before we started these services in the agri and food commodities, the labs at times need to send their samples abroad to participate in that proficiency testing. So we are providing currently in the antibiotic, microbiological, GMO and heavy metals at our 4 of laboratories. If any of the labs want to make use of that services, can see our calendar on our website and make use of the facility. So capacity building initiatives in this overall testing as well as accreditation ecosystem involves two-pronged strategy, I can say. It is not only classroom or theoretical sessions, we are providing hands-on training session also in the areas of sample preparation, method development and validation, as well as equally important aspect of how to interpret results. So ultimately, one correctly interprets and reproduce on test reports. That is very critical part. That is the final document which is going with the consignment. So that is also equally important, how that statistical process need to be followed while interpreting the results. So we are giving, what I mean to say here is we are giving training on every aspects for these stakeholders in the laboratory ecosystem. Of course, in this major partner is NABL. So NABL assessors as well as trainers along with the EIC officials are involved, are combinedly giving number of training programs. The other part is hands-on training. We have set up one training center, that is International Training Center for Food Safety and Applied Nutrition, ITC FSAN in short we call. It is located in our Mumbai office of Export Inspection Agency, and this facility is established in collaboration with FSI and Global Food Safety Partnership, under which we have received certain advanced analytical equipments. Normally when you see in the field laboratory any high-end equipment, a fresher want to be handled, management is a bit skeptical to get training on those instruments. So this training need was identified and felt that an organization should be there where they can freely get this sort of hands-on training, where we are conducting not only Indian, our neighboring country regulators and laboratory personnel also we are training. Target groups, as I mentioned already, NABL assessors are closely involved with EIC in conducting such programs, where in the chemical, microbiological and molecular biology fields we are conducting, and active support of NABL is always acknowledged in this type of programs. When we see laboratory infrastructure in terms of sector wise, we have divided zone into 5 regions. Of course, northern region fishery products are not there. These 4 regions, this is the number of health certificate issued per year is 1 column, 1 bar I can say. That is a sort of indirect indicator of the quantum of these products being exported from that region. And the second bar is represented by the number of EAA as well as EIC recognized laboratories, that is including private laboratories present in that regions. So when we look at basmati and non-basmati also, the major exports, major exports from this northern India, but a number of recognized laboratories are only 5, and EIC is also coming up a laboratory in Faridabad, and here it seems scope for other private players also to enter into the testing of this basmati and non-basmati. I think last year substantial quantity of rice is being exported from India. Similarly, we look at milk and milk products, Mumbai region, the number of accredited labs for milk and milk product testing is less, so EIC decided to set up laboratory in Ahmedabad to cater to their needs. So similarly, EA Delhi also Faridabad lab is coming up, which will cater to whatever the shortages we noticed. Apart from this, we have recently given a consultancy assignment to the consulting firm to assess the gaps in this laboratory infrastructure in the region wise, product testing needs wise. So they will come up with a report which will help policy makers to identify the gaps, what are the products, what are the parameters, in the which regions there is a gap, and accordingly policy maker can take decisions on that. As I said, NABL is a closely associated partner. They have taken a lead in 2017 with the direction of the Department of Commerce. Earlier, each regulator have their own recognition systems for the laboratories, which is a cumbersome and laborious and taxing part on the in terms of private laboratories involved. So they have come up with the integrated approach. So a laboratory needs to recognized by FSI, APEDA, T-board or whatever the regulatory bodies, they can single application and single assessment process, they can do that. So benchmark was set to comply with the importing country requirement as per the Export Inspection Act 1963. As we celebrate this World Accreditation Day, it is essential to recognize this invaluable contribution that accreditation and accreditation body NABL is making in the quality assurance and consumer protection globally. NABL labs are providing services as per these different standards like ISO 17025 and proficiency testing provider ISO 17043, and NABL CEO is one of the board member for Export Inspection Council governing body also. Upon his recommendation, the need was felt for producing reference material in India, and we have positively taken his feedback, and EIC has initiated reference material production, which going to come in the later part, that is under ISO 17034. How this accreditation system is helping, this is the indicator. One can see in 2013-14 only 21 labs are there. So this accreditation system is giving the confidence to the importing countries. They are recognizing our certifications. That's why need is coming up for more and more laboratories and accreditation system. That's why you see the number grown more than threefold. That itself is indicator. I think overall now increased to 81 laboratories. So by fostering an accreditation ecosystem, trust, transparency and technical competence, EIC not only safeguards quality of India export portfolio, but also serves as a vital enabler for this SME growth. Through this mechanism, EIC contributes for inclusive trade development, which is helping Indian SMEs step confidently into global markets with assurance of quality and credibility. Thank you. Thank you for your time, attention.
Thank you, sir, for highlighting the role of Export Inspection Council and how it brings hands in hand together to help the MSME to grow. Now, I would request Dr. Mallika Gope, who is the Director NABL, to felicitate Dr. Reddy because he has to go to other session, which is running parallelly. I'll request you, sir, to please. Thank you, ma'am. Now we will start our next presentation, which is on product-based accreditation benefiting MSME, and for which I would like to invite Mr. Pankaj Jari, who is Director with NABL QCI.
Thank you, Varsha. This World Accreditation Day is an event and celebration for all of us. And more importantly, I would highlight that this is more towards felicitation for the accreditation conformity assessment bodies, supported by accreditation body and other stakeholders. So it's more to the accredited conformity assessment bodies. In inaugural session, our Secretary DPIIT talked a very important point, sustainability, and how this sustainability part is so important for the accredited labs or accredited conformity assessment body or the quality ecosystem. As I already told, I believe that this Accreditation Day celebration actually belongs to the accredited conformity assessment bodies. After the inaugural session, one of our senior colleagues or from accredited CAP ecosystem contacted and shared his presentation and his ideas about that, what work he has done on the sustainability for that. And that we liked so much. And I thought it would be quite appropriate and suitable if he can share his PPT, and his ideas about the sustainability work in the laboratories and how the other laboratory can be encouraged and can implement those ideas to have the better results, something. So before my presentation, with the consent of the organizing committee as well, I thought it would be appropriate. So I would like to invite Dr. Nilesh Amratkar. He is from EnviroCare Lab and he has done the work on the sustainability. He is the one who after inaugural session shared this PPT. Please come and please share your ideas and PPT for the benefit of entire community. Please, Dr.
Thank you sir so much. थोड़ा deviation है, method deviation हो गया, and I hope that it will get accredited soon, the deviation in the method, because the dignitaries are there on the dais and I am intervening in between the change of method. So a very good afternoon to all of you. I'll be speaking on sustainability as a growth enabler for MSMEs. Most of the points that have come up across is from my own experience of how we have developed a infrastructure for a laboratory which is a 50,000 square feet of lab in Mumbai, and how we have tried to inbuild some sustainability concepts. We are not supposed to talk about the lab as per se, but then I have tried to modify the presentation as a holistic for any of the MSMEs. Respected dignitaries, fellow colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, at the outset I would like to thank sincerely NABL, QCI and the entire organizing team for inviting me on this very important occasion of World Accreditation Day 2025. And this year's theme, Accreditation Empowering Small and Medium Enterprises, could not be more timely. The MSME today in India is nearly 63 million MSMEs, contributing to 30% of our GDP and generating approximately 45% of our exports. Collectively, these enterprises provide livelihood to 110 million Indians. Almost 20% of the working force is working in MSMEs. Yet MSMEs today are navigating an increasingly complex business landscape, one where global buyers, regulators, investors and even consumers are placing growing emphasis not only on price and quality but also on sustainability, traceability and transparency. In fact, according to the UN Global Compact study, nearly 90% of global buyers 90% of the global buyers were expected to incorporate ESG compliance into their supply chain requirements by 2027. For MSMEs, sustainability is no longer an optional add-on. It's a license to operate and grow. Accreditation, especially framework like ISO 17025, 17020 and other accreditation standards, related standards, serve as a very powerful enablers for MSMEs to embed sustainability into their DNA. Accreditation empowers MSME to build robust, reliable and reproducible systems that minimize process variations leading to lower wastage, adopt resource efficient operations, optimizing electricity, water, chemicals and consumables. And actually these have been implemented. There are very specific examples in our laboratory where we have been doing this. Implement safe waste management protocols, minimizing environmental impact, establishing personal competence framework that strengthens safety, skill development, organizational knowledge, digitize operations, moving towards paperless LIMS-based management system, reducing material usage. In short, quality and sustainability go hand in hand. Accreditation gives MSMEs not just creditability, but also operational resilience and global market readiness. Mapping sustainability across the different SDGs. So there are 4 SDGs that I could map out. SDG 7, affordable and clean energy. SDG 9, related to industry, innovation and infrastructure. SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. So here, when you use solar systems in our laboratory especially, 24% of total electricity is from renewable resources such as solar power, and giving us a saving of around 2 lakh rupees every month. And now, apart from the money part of it, the best part is that you can actually see live that 500,000 tons of CO2 have been saved from emissions, and more than 5,000 trees have been equivalent planted because the coal and other things were not used. Accreditation gives the creation of state-of-the-art laboratory infrastructure equipped with validated traceable methods, ensuring production of quality, safe, globally acceptable products and services. So the infrastructure built up is as per the CIA guidelines, IGBC guidelines of green building interiors and green building. So that is another infrastructure development for the country. Accredited labs implement validated methods and green chemistry protocols, optimizing chemical usage, minimizing hazardous waste, and practicing safe disposal procedures, thereby reducing environmental footprint. Laboratory prioritizes health and safety by designing spacious, well-ventilated layouts, segregating work areas, implementing proper fume hood systems, ensuring clean air and ergonomic workstations for laboratory personnel. Most of their clauses of the standard, but how we can inbuild that into the sustainability is something which we have tried to correlate in our laboratory. Many accredited labs have established Center for Continual Education and Research like ours, and where we continually conduct training programs that contribute to national skill development, Skill India missions, and help build technical competency among the youth. Accreditation strengthens MSME creditability in the international trade, opening doors to global markets, export opportunities, and stable job creations. Low cost sustainability actions for MSMEs. The journey towards sustainability need not be daunting. Many laboratories and MSMEs have started small, very practical steps that deliver both environmental and financial benefits. Conducting regular energy audits to optimize air conditioning, lighting, and compressed air systems, which have delivered almost 10 to 20% of savings in the energy cost. Installing water recycling systems to reuse, which is amounting to almost 70% of the water to be reused. Digitizing quality and compliance systems, dramatically cutting down on paper usage, implementing waste segregation for chemical and biological waste streams, adopting green procurement policies for eco-friendly consumables and reagents. These initiatives are not capital intensive, but generate high long-term returns, making MSME leaner, greener, and globally competitive. The role of accreditation bodies and ecosystem support. While the intent exists that MSMEs often require technical guidance and ecosystem support to translate sustainability into action, institutions like NABL, QCI, NABCB, and other government agencies would play a very vital role in creating cluster-based hand-holding programs to guide MSMEs on low-cost sustainability models, offering capacity-building workshops, green financing, and carbon credit mechanism to incentivize sustainable methods or investments. Introducing readiness scoreboards that combine accreditation and sustainability matrices for MSMEs to benchmark themselves on regular basis. So thus, conclusion in summary, accreditation builds capabilities and sustainability builds competitiveness. Together, they are future-proof for MSMEs. MSMEs are the engines for India's economic growth, and with accreditation as a catalyst, they can not only fuel GDP and employment, but also become responsible global citizens, contributing to the national development and planetary health, not just the earth, but the planetary health. This is the vision for Quality India. We must collectively build, where every enterprise, large or small, stands tall on the pillars of trust, transparency, sustainability, and global competitiveness. Accreditation and sustainability are not parallel paths. They are two wheels of the same growth vehicle that will drive India towards the global leadership. Let us collectively work to empower MSMEs not just to survive, but to thrive sustainability. Thank you very much.
Just a second. Thank you, sir, for your remarks. Now I will request Dr. Ramanand Shukla to just facilitate and giving him thanks for his kind presence over here. Thank you, Nileshji, for raising your voice and making us understand how this product-based accreditation is benefiting MSME.
Okay, Dr. Nileshji, thank you, and thank you, Varsha, once again for inviting me again. Okay, so product-based accreditation. This is the very important segment I would say, like to highlight. and very important for all the stakeholders and all the audience which has assembled. Before starting and before further speaking on this, would like to set the background for this. So already you know that NABL grants accreditation to the testing laboratory as per 17025 standard, ISO I 17025. The calibration lab also 17025. Then medical laboratory ISO 15189, PT provider 17043, and ISO 17034. So what is product-based accreditation? So product-based accreditation is not a new standard, or this is not a new scheme as such. This is a scheme within the scheme. So what is within the scheme means? NABL is already giving accreditation to the testing laboratories. So far that was the parameter specific. So lot of hue and cry, I would say, has been there for over many years, that a laboratory is not having the testing facility for the complete testing of any products. Many laboratories are having, but only, I would say, few are having, but many are having only few test parameter accredited for a products, and for other few, the customer has to find some other laboratories or other test facilities. In this process, lot of wastage of time and the efforts and the money is there for the customers, for the SMEs particularly, if they are sending their samples to these laboratories, because sometimes they have to find a lab for 1 to 5 products, for other they are not available, or some other city it is available, or some other facilities. So the idea came from DPIT itself 5-6 years back, that NABL should start working for giving accreditation to the product-based accreditation. Still, accreditation is the voluntary mode of accreditation. So we could not mandate this kind of accreditation for all laboratories who are testing a particular product. But we came out with the scheme so that it's kind of facilitation, a facility to the existing testing laboratories, accredited testing laboratory, as well as the other potentially applicant testing laboratory, who can find a product, who can find a relevant IS standard for that product, and under that IS product, they can find the applicable test methods. And for that applicable test method, what is the applicable test method standard? And so accordingly, all can be included, and the laboratory can become a product testing laboratories. Why I am telling you all this chain, that there is a product, there is a IS standard for that products, there are the applicable tests, then for each test method, there can be the same standard, or there can be the other test method standard for that. So that entire chain, I am telling this because when NABL came out with this scheme, in the background as a preparation, lot of efforts done by the NABL team to find out the product, to set the criteria for selecting the product first of all. Once we have selected the product, to bring it under the product-based accreditation schemes, then what is the applicable product standard? What are the test parameters applicable for that? Everything was a long chain. You would not believe that even for a one product, there was 50 plus or even more than that test method standard were there, which we have identified, and we completed the work when prepared the master's scope for that. So this testing laboratories, as I told, I think by this time, I have made it very clear to the audience, to all of you, that what is the importance and significance of this scheme. This scheme is that if you have a facility for testing of a, complete testing of any product which is listed in this scheme, you can make yourself recognized by NABL, accredited by NABL for the testing of that particular product. So this is a very good business opportunity for the lab. If you don't have those complete testing facility at present, you can enhance your testing facility and to become the product-based testing laboratories. So far, how many products have been listed? We have listed 246 test products under this product-based accreditation. Now, what is the criteria of this one? When we have listed this, we set the criteria that QCO, the quality control orders, they would be initially the criteria for bringing the products in that scheme. So all of you might be knowing there are many QCOs. I think in my knowledge, I think 187, something 200 around, 700. No, overall, BIS is 200, BIS is 200 around, and then supported by other ministries, so it can be the more than that. So many products are there, but not only QCO products are in the scheme. We have brought in other important products also in the scheme, which have been suggested by the relevant associations of the laboratories that these also can be an important product where NABL can certify this accredited laboratory as a product-based laboratories. So benefit I have already told, that's approaching single lab instead of the multiple labs for testing products, and a single lab report can be issued for the entire testing of a product. It saves time and testing charges, of course. Now, this is an opportunity, as in you can say from this forum of World Accreditation Day, it is an invitation to all stakeholders, all laboratories to build the testing infrastructure, to enhance your test infrastructure, to support this scheme. Because this scheme finally is helping the consumers, MSME sectors, all manufacturers, and all testing infrastructure quality ecosystem. How you can apply for that? So by now you have known it, that you can also become a product-based testing laboratory, even though you are existing NABL accredited testing laboratory for 100 parameters or 1000 parameters or 5000 parameters, which is covering one product, 10 products, 100 products, or 150 products. But sometimes you are covering 80% testing of a product, or even 90% coverage of a product, or maybe 10 or 20% of product, but you can enhance your testing facility. And under that scheme, you can become a product-based testing laboratory. So for this, there is a NABL 158 application form. Even though the portal is there, I am once again telling you, NABL is a completely online system, completely digital system, but as a document wise, there is a document NABL 158, which is an application form for accreditation of product-based testing laboratories, and it is same. The process of accreditation is same. Here you can see, you can apply here, apply for NABL product-based accreditation. Then you have to fill. So this is an important slide. Everything is auto-fetched. When you will hit the product details tab, you will find the listing of the products. The products would be there. You only have to select the product relevant to your testing facility. Once you would select the product, you would see the entire test parameters applicable to a particular product. It would appear on the screen. Then you can select. So there is no need that you find something, you search what are the standard applicable, what are the test method applicable. Everything, every groundwork, preparatory work has already been done by NABL. Master's scope already has been built by NABL. It is there, standard is there, you have to only select it. So all these, see, molded solid, so kind of this cycle chains scope is there. Then there is a product under QCO, which I already told you what was our criteria of bringing that. And this is, you can you might be reading all information and updates about product-based accreditation, NABL updates, etc. so far, but maybe I believe that till today probably you were not knowing much better about this product-based accreditation scheme and the benefits of this. And by the time I would end my talk, you would have understood the importance and significance of this product-based accreditation schemes, and you would support the scheme. So this is the end of this my presentation, and yeah. So with this, thank you very much. Thank you very much, once again to everyone. All the clappings are good. If you support these schemes, you come out for this product-based accreditation scheme, because this is for the good of you, for the well-being and for the betterment of the entire quality ecosystem. Okay, thank you very, very much, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Pankaj-ji, for highlighting the key points which NABL has made it very easily available to the accreditation stakeholders and the partners. And with this, I will further go to the next session, which will be accredited certification management systems and product certification enhancing quality of MSME. And for this, I would like to invite Mr. Sumit Kataria, who is country head for international certification services. And just to give you experience what kind of he bears, is he's associated with so many esteemed organizations which include ICS Technology, OG IPL, and also he is having a very good and vast experience with the offshore construction, including hookups, construction of LPG bottling, structural steel fabrication. So he will be highlighting the role of how this accreditation is going to help the MSMEs and how he has performed his task in this era.
Thank you, ma'am, for that introduction. Appreciate. I'm going to talk a little neutral in terms of, we're going to talk elaborately. My talk covers about what is accreditation, why we celebrate this day, what is the pain point of MSME. I would focus more on why MSME and how accreditation serves to be one of the only solutions that MSME has. So I'll keep my talk around that. It's going to be tough in 10 minutes, but I've tried my level best. Okay, respected dignitaries from QCI, NABCB, NABL, dignitaries on the dais, regulators, stakeholders, co-speakers, colleagues from conformity assessment bodies, representatives of certified entities, members of this august gathering. It is indeed a privilege and honor to stand here before you on the occasion of World Accreditation Day. This day celebrates the silent yet significant work being done through standards, accreditation and conformity assessment, which builds trust, enabling quality, powering inclusion and growth. This year is a carefully charted theme. For us, it will be MSME. This couldn't be more relevant, especially in the current context of India's MSME, which stands at the crossroad facing resilience and transformation. Let me also take a moment to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to stand ahead of you. As I take stage after so many speakers, several experts, voices, and visionaries who have already spoken before me, and each of them deeply embedded into their own field, I may echo some facts that they have already covered. Still, I hope to offer a perspective very grounded and relevant to today's issues with MSME. Okay. So World Accreditation Day, 9th, it's celebrated today. It's basically done by two bodies, the ILAC and the IAF, promoted in India by QCI through NABCB and NABL, having its MRA or MLA with APAC, IAF and ILAC. This day aims to raise awareness about how accreditation underpins quality, safety and trust in everyday life. The theme, it's a very carefully charted theme, as how accreditation can play a crucial role in empowering future, especially India's vibrant yet vulnerable MSME sector through trust, competence, and reliability. This presentation will explore how accreditation plays a foundation role in building credible systems, particularly for MSMEs, in shaping stronger, more sustainable futures, inculcating support, trust, and which will enhance the MSMEs to be in all fields. The MSMEs are in all fields. They represent all fields with us today. The 6.3 crore MSMEs are spread across industries, right from khadi, cottage industries, complex machine and equipment manufacturing. They represent sectors like health, education, food safety, and infrastructure development. This is where the MSME is penetrated and how and why they need our support. I'll take you through accreditation. What is accreditation? Accreditation is a process of conformity, a third-party attestation related to a conformity assessment body, where a AB, it's the entire chain from a IAF with its MRA or MLA with the AB to the CB and the clients via a robust set of accreditation and certification standards. How does accreditation help? Accreditation helps in giving confidence to customers, regulators, that businesses and services meet global standards. Accreditation enables sustainable growth, quality improvement, and sectors that shape future. At AB level, it happens through peer evaluation using accreditation standards, and then at conformity assessment level using conformity assessment standards, and then the CABs to certify the clients or entities for products and their services. There is a huge, sorry for that, I think there is some resolution issue. I'll take you through the basic standards. Basic standards go through 17021, which is for the management system, 17020 for the inspection systems, personnel certification 17024, you have the 17065 for product, you have a 17029 for verification and validation bodies. There is an exponential part of standards, QMS, quality, environment, occupational health, food safety, information security. You talk about product standards, you talk about processes, you talk about other standards. India's ecosystem, this is how it spreads within the ecosystem. India's ecosystem is growing rapidly. In fact, standards are booming at a pace that most of us too find it difficult to keep pace with. But today is the era of sector-specific standards, where organizations within their sector look for sector-specific solutions which they need. NABCB and NABL lead the charge, and certification bodies who operate within the Indian network help certify them. Again, that glitch. This is a typical of MSME. I'll tell you the classification of MSME, the micro and small and medium. These are categorized by their turnover and their volumes. So the turnover and investment should be about 2.5 crore to 10 crore, 25 crore to 100 crore, and 125 crore to 500 crore. That's how they are. It'll be surprising to note that out of the 100% MSMEs, 97% MSMEs are micro, 2.7% of these MSMEs are small, and the medium is a mere 0.3%. We have a this is the distribution, what they do to the country. 6.3 crores entities contributing 30% of India's GDP. 1.1 crore people are employed under these MSMEs. They're accountable for 49% of India's exports. MSME are undoubtedly the backbone of the Indian economy. Their role in employment, exports, and GDP makes them essential players in national development. It is a diverse, dynamic, and deeply embedded in rural and the semi-urban sectors. But it also faces challenges in quality, compliance, and scalability. There's another interesting fact that I want to give you. Out of the 0.3% that I spoke of the medium, they take care of 40% of the total exports. So the 99.7% of the MSMEs fight it out for 60% of the market share. That's where they go into the price, that's where they get into quality, and that's where the issues start. We together need to find a solution to this. It will also be interesting to know that 45.79% is the total export contributed out of MSMEs. What are the challenges they face and how we can help, or how accreditation helps? Low compliance certification rates. To the best of my available knowledge, we wouldn't have more than 1.5 lakh MSMEs certified out of the 6.3 crore MSMEs operating within India. That's where the potential lies, and that's where the gap is. Lack of awareness and guidance, limited digital and technical capability, lack of infrastructure, regulatory compliance is always taken as a burden at that level, inconsistent quality standards. The organization's approach is not positive. They themselves are not convinced that a standard or accredited certification can help them add value. When implemented by force, it is just ticking a checkbox, which has no added value. Awareness related to statutory and regulatory, as I said, is always taken as a burden, and hence you cannot make a committed organization, and such non-committed organizations cannot help build a great nation. That's where we are, that's where the challenge is. But despite they have so much potential, MSME struggles with meeting international benchmarks. We keep reading that our particular products got failed, they got rejected, and we need to actually find out how to get a solution to these issues. Let's see what we can do. Better risk management. Accreditation can help you do better risk management. It'll help you trust, credibility, market access. It gives you competitive advantage. This is how accreditation empowers tomorrow, by supporting modern priorities like sustainability, smart manufacturing, innovation. Accreditation creates a foundation of trust, especially critical in new and emerging sectors like ESG, clean energy, AI, and cybersecurity. Accreditation helps build trust and enter new markets for these sectors. What is our role? MSME is undoubtedly the backbone of the economy. They contribute to the GDP. Accreditation will help them demonstrate quality, competence, and open doors for them to compete within a huge market. Accreditation helps in a practical sense. You'll have better management, you'll have lesser wastage, increased efficiency, increased productivity, increased profit, improved customer relations, consistent outcomes. You'll start measuring, you'll start monitoring, and these are the advantages that certification will get to you. So MSMEs need to realize this, get into the gamut, get into the quality circle, because that's the only way. Another problem with MSMEs is the brain drain. They have a huge problem with employee retention. Today, young professionals are very smart. They do not look at salaries. They see purpose, values, they see company culture, they see a company that focuses on social inclusion, they see employee welfare, they see ethical leadership, they see transparency in decision making. That's what today's youth represents. The MSME fails to get them, and that's one reason such organizations like MSME, without that kind of zeal, fail to attract such good potential within the market. That's one of our key problems. We need to focus on them. All the above can only be achieved through accredited certifications. Where do we lack? We lack all of us. We lack all of us, and all of us lack into advocacy and outreach. That is something that we need to push with all our might. We have a 6.2 crore industries waiting for us to help shape India's future. How does the entire regulatory system help? Accreditation is a foundation tool for regulators to ensure compliance. Accreditation is not abstract. It is embedded in daily life, whether it is safety in a building, quality of water, drinking water, integrity of medical devices. Accreditation ensures service and products are dependable and meet customer requirements. We have more and more regulators which are now looking towards trusting the entire mechanism of accreditation. Some examples are CDSCO, FSSAI, PNGRB, DCGA, DGQA, BIS, BEE. These are regulators which now trust accredited systems, and such organizations get open market access. What we should do, these are certain live examples where these companies, after getting accredited, have changed faces. Please look them up. People, there is another company, there's a case study where accredited laboratories invite automatic entries into tenders. Food, if you're FSSAI approved, you get better entry, you have a direct market access. Accreditation helps you get places. What can we do? We can incentivize. We need to create an ecosystem where equality is rewarded, from regulators to assessors to industry champions. We all play a role in uplifting MSME through the power of accreditation. How do we go about it? Collaborate across an ecosystem is critical. It is very critical for all of us to collaborate, get together. Each stakeholder must contribute to a quality culture. I'm done. Despite this, accreditation has often been underutilized by MSME due to lack of awareness. As I said, advocacy and outreach is the only way we can go in the future. The future is about agility, innovation, and resilience. Accreditation must align with digital age, proactive support sectors to shape India's tomorrow. Maximizing the impact of accreditation requires collaboration amongst government, industry, regulator, conformity assessment bodies. Only when we get together, we can make the MSME future ready. Thank you all for joining in for this session. Accreditation ensures quality, safety, and trust, supports economic growth, trade, and sustainability. It's the key to empower small organizations. In summary, accreditation is not just compliance. It is a strategic tool for growth, innovation, and resilience. Let us on this World Accreditation Day recognize the transformative potential to advocate for wider adoptions across all sectors. Let me leave you with a small, simple thought. A company that balances its profit with purpose, people with performance, growth with governance, is the company that shall not only survive but thrive into the next century. Accreditation certification is not a burden, it is a business strategy, it's a true differentiator, it's an enabler. Thank you for your attention. Once again, happy World Accreditation Day.
Thank you, Sumitji, for your powerful words and how this accreditation has leveraged this MSME till now, and how ICS is doing this job in the market. Thank you for explaining all this and the product certification role to enhance the quality of MSME. And with this, I will request Mr. Ajay Sharma, Joint Director from NABCB, so kindly come on the dais to facilitate Mr. Sumit Kataria. Thank you, Ajay ji. Now, moving to the next session, now I would like to invite Dr. Rohit Chawla, who will be talking on accreditation in enhancing the diagnostic healthcare infrastructure. And before this, I want to introduce him to the sessions. He is a Dr. MD, DNB, FCCM, Diploma in RC Path, and also he holds Diploma at American Board of Medical Microbiology, USA, and he has also distinguished award in his portfolio, which confirmed with the President, National Board of Examination, Gold Medal for Academic Excellence in the field of clinical microbiology. And not only this, he has more than 2 decades of experience in managing clinical microbiological services. So over to you, Dr. Chawla, to highlight the role of accreditation in healthcare.
Very good afternoon to all of you. At the outset, I'd like to thank NABCB and NABL for organizing, as always, every year, the World Accreditation Day with all fervor and gusto. My sincere thanks to CEO NABL, Mr. Venkateswaran, Director NABL, Mr. Johari, for having me over here. Now, I'll be talking about the accreditation and its effect in enhancing quality of diagnostic healthcare, particularly in relation to patient safety. Now, this is the overview that we're going to go through. As we all know, those of us who are associated with the healthcare profession, particularly working in clinical laboratories or laboratory medicine, healthcare is a highly complex profession. It is often delivered in a pressure situation, in a fast-moving environment, using the state-of-the-art technology, and different healthcare professionals they give in their own thoughts and decisions, which ultimately has an impact on the outcome on the patient. The frequency of medical errors is often something which is not talked about. It is usually brushed under the carpet because nobody wants to talk about it. We don't want to accept that errors happen, but we all know errors do happen. Whatever we are going to do, errors would creep in. It has been estimated in a landmark study in US that almost 44,000 to almost a lakh of deaths in a year in US happen because of medical errors, particularly the preventable medical errors, which accounts for almost 17 to 30 billion dollars. We don't have that data for India, but I'm sure we also have the losses of lives and the cost in terms of money incurred with regard to these errors. More importantly, we lose trust and satisfaction of our clients, of our patients in this whole process. Now, what are these different types of errors that can creep in a healthcare infrastructure? We can divide them into three categories: diagnostic, treatment, and prevention. Diagnostic is something that is very close to us because most of us who are here are laboratory professionals working in lab medicine. These are the errors where we fail to employ a correct test. So if we fail to employ a correct test for a patient, then obviously his or her diagnosis gets delayed, and obviously the condition can become be worsened. So this is what we directly actually impact as laboratory professionals. The second set of errors are related to treatment, wherein incorrect treatment, incorrect dosage can have unfavorable outcomes for the patient. And finally, these are related to prevention. Suppose, taking a common example, all of us had to take COVID vaccine when there was a pandemic which emerged. And if we don't take the vaccine, obviously our risk of developing a severe disease later on increases, and also the mortality. So these are different types of errors related to the field of healthcare. Now, two terms I'd like to explain which often are misunderstood in the context of laboratory medicine, and that is patient safety and laboratory safety. In the context of laboratory medicine, patient safety focuses on preventing errors with the provision of laboratory services to improve the care of the patient. So the idea is to prevent errors, while laboratory safety actually pertains to the safe environment for the laboratory workers. So these two terms are very different and cannot be interchanged because they've got different purposes. So what I am going to discuss further, maybe 5-10 minutes, would be on the patient safety and not the laboratory safety. But having said that, both are important. The concept of patient safety works on one principle, and this is one of the most important principles under medical ethics, and that is do no harm. That is, we at all costs want to avoid harm to the patient while we are providing care to the patient. Medical laboratory personals therefore are stewards of patient safety and must promote the culture of safety and quality. That's needless to say. And this can be achieved through IOMs. IOM is International Association of Medicine, 6 quality aims for healthcare. And this is the fundamental set of principles on which patient safety as a concept has actually developed over the past 2 decades. So by preventing errors, we are not focusing just on the errors. We want the aims of healthcare to be safe, effective, patient-centered, timely, efficient, and equitable. By safe, we mean that it prevents harm to the patient, as I was referring to. Effective is the effective use of the evidence-based knowledge. Patient-centered means it should respond to the patient preferences. Timely, we all know as laboratory professionals, if you don't give the report on time, it has got no value even if you put the best available test in the world. It should be efficient, as was mentioned by my co-panelists, and equitable. It should not differentiate between race, gender, so on and so forth. So how do these quality aims relate to the practice of laboratory medicine? All these 6 quality aims directly give you an opportunity to improve the patient care, and this must be applicable to all the phases of laboratory services. And with this, I introduce the concept that we laboratory professionals are very well versed with, that is total testing process. Now, this total testing process, we all know, passes through pre-analytical, analytical, and post-analytical phases. But a beautiful concept was given about 4 decades ago. This concept of total testing process is linked to what we refer to as brain-to-brain loop concept, wherein what generates a laboratory test request from a doctor or a clinician is the interaction between the physician and the patient. And then after that interaction, the physician orders a particular test, the sample accordingly is collected, identified, transported, and then it is prepared, analyzed, reported, and it is finally interpreted, and based on that interpretation, physician decides which treatment is to be given to the patient. So this is an interconnected loop that we need to understand. I'll introduce 2 new terms that we might not be familiar with. I talked about pre-analytical phase, analytical phase, and the post-analytical phase. There is something called as a pre-analytical phase and a post-analytical phase. Let's try to understand what it is. The pre-analytical phase is before the pre-analytical phase, which some people also refer to as clinical pre-analytical errors or pre-analytical errors, which results from inappropriate test selection. If you don't select the right test for the patient, obviously down the line the outcomes of the patient would be adversely affected. And the second is the post-analytical error, which also is referred to as a clinical post-analytical error, which occurs due to the misinterpretation that leads to misdiagnosis and improper treatment. So we have to consider this now in our whole loop that I just mentioned. Now, this is a food for thought for everybody. In which phase do you think most of the errors happen? Pre-analytical, analytical, so on and so forth. I'll talk about this a bit later. We'll give you some hard data. But before that, we'll discuss a bit about the condition or the changing pattern of the clinical laboratory which has happened over past 10, 20 years. As we all know, the pace of technological advancements in a medical laboratory has accelerated. I mean, beyond any imagination, it is accelerated, and it is largely due to the automation and the use of the IT. We provide quality and timely test results despite impressive increase in the test menu and the related workload because of these inherent efficiencies that we've been able to generate by leveraging automation and IT. However, having said that, we are now slightly becoming away from the clinical context while doing so. There is excessive emphasis on efficiency, productivity, timeliness, which are the management mantras to manage any laboratory, including a medical laboratory. We are becoming insular and not directly maybe impacting the patient care. We are overlooking the ultimate goal of the laboratory medicine, and that is to improve the patient care through the delivery of reliable and valuable laboratory information. This dichotomization between the clinical world and the laboratory world has led to this disruption in brain-to-brain loop, which can lead to ineffective patient care. Now, coming back to that question, which phase do you think is most responsible for the errors? You'll be surprised to know the pre-analytical errors, that is the clinical pre-analytical errors, where we are supposed to choose the right test at the right time on the right sample, is one which is now responsible for most of the errors, almost 50% of the errors. Second to that are the post-analytical errors, that is clinical post-analytical errors, where you've done as a laboratory an excellent job, you've given the right report to the clinician, but the interpretation is lacking. So because of this misinterpretation, again we are not able to actually impact the patient care as we would like to. So these concepts we need to now understand, and how can we improve upon these deficiencies that we are seeing, again incorporating the IOM pillars. In addition, the laboratory professionals need to step out of their silos. This is what I personally feel. Out of our cozy environment of the laboratory and serve as interdisciplinary teams where we have direct partnership with physicians, nurses, healthcare professionals, so that we can look at and try to improve upon the abysmal errors that we see with the clinical pre-analytical and the clinical post-analytical phase. And this is the need of the hour, and this is enunciated by a buzzword now, that is diagnostic stewardship, wherein we order the right test at the right time, at the right specimen, right analysis, right interpretation, so that we can have right intervention ultimately to the patient and the outcomes can be improved dramatically. Now, I've posed few questions before we finish off. Should patient safety be built into all these activities that we perform in a clinical laboratory? Yes or no? What is your idea on that? Should we have a patient safety built into our systems? Absolutely yes. It has to be built into our systems because that's what ultimately we are working for. Does clinical laboratory accreditation empower us to achieve this objective, to have patient centricity? Yes. If you see the new standard that we are all now adopting in our medical laboratories, that is ISO 15189/2022, have you ever thought how many times the word patient appears in that document? You'll be surprised to know I did Control F yesterday and I found 142 times. So that tells you the impact, the centricity of the patient in this document. Then I checked patient safety, it occurs 2 times in that document. So the whole document that we have now of the accreditation standard is totally focused on the patient and the patient outcomes. So therefore we have to imbibe this within ourselves while we are getting our labs accredited. Are we actually focused towards the patient outcomes or not in whatever activity we do, in whatever phase we might be doing? Can we eliminate all errors by using this approach? Yes or no? What is your take on this? Absolutely not. But can we minimize the errors? Absolutely. So is it worthwhile? Yes or no? Is it worth the effort? Absolutely. So this is my take-home message, that we should work towards patient centricity, look at the patient outcomes rather than looking only on the lab aspects of it, whether the activities performed in the medical laboratory are actually bringing the necessary change in the patient outcomes or not. A beautiful quote by which I'll finish off: to know that we know what we know, and to know that we do not know what we do not know is true knowledge. And identifying errors and removing them as much as possible in our work culture would help us to improve the care that we are providing to the patient, and that would be the ultimate goal of accreditation. You might get the certificate, but this is what is the ultimate certificate that everybody needs to strive for. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Chawla, for highlighting the role of accreditation in enhancing the patient health care as well as the diagnostic infrastructure. And now I would request Ms. Anuja Anand, Director NABL, to felicitate Dr. Chawla, and I request her to please come on the dais. Now we will move to the next session, which is I will give over to Dr. Ramanand Shukla. He is a Senior Director as well as Head of Division of NDII, which is a National Division of Industry Excellence, and he will be talking on MSME Sustainable Certification Support Industries, Manufacturing and Building Nation. So over to you, Dr. Shukla.
Thank you, Varsha. A very good afternoon to all my colleagues on the dais and everyone who's present here to celebrate this World Accreditation Day with us, because I believe we all together have a firm belief that it is accreditations, standards and certifications that empower businesses. So thank you for being with us. Now, what do these accreditations do? So we've heard a lot since morning, right? And we all believe what it does. But I'll just show maybe one pic that will summarize. Had there been no standards, accreditations and certifications, perhaps this is how we would have been operating. So that is unfortunate part where, in fact, when we talk about a lot of MSMEs, we have more than 6 crore MSMEs, out of which around 70 to 80 lakh MSMEs are manufacturing sector MSMEs that are on Udyam registration. And majority of the MSMEs unfortunately follow the age-old traditional tools, systems and mechanics. And that is where there is a lot of struggle, and that is where accreditations and certifications become very important. So why do MSMEs struggle? In our country, we have seen there are a lot of MSMEs that manufacture wonderful, exceptional products, whether it can be, as you can see in one of the images, the black pottery of, this place, Azamgarh. Or if we talk about the carpets that are weaved at Badohi or even in Kashmir, right? So these are some fantastic products, very good products. But what is it that makes our MSMEs still struggle? Quality is very high, very good, but what is failing them is lack of recognized quality. So it is not that quality is the only differentiator, it is the recognized quality. And accreditations or recognized certifications are the things that inspire the buyers, the stakeholders, the consumers alike to recognize quality. And that is what is the need of the hour, that our MSMEs do realize that they have to go for accreditations, they have to go for systems and certifications. So our MSMEs are basically warriors, they are our heroes, because if we could have seen all the stats that have been spoken about, so almost half of the exports are through our MSMEs. So they are fighting their battles, but without an armor. So they fight their battles, but they don't have the armors, they don't have the necessary documentations, they don't have the necessary systems, they don't have the necessary certifications that they need to have to be competitive. And that is what needs to change. Now, what is the cost of such lack of accreditations or standards or certifications? It's a huge cost. If we look at the MSMEs in our country, majority of the MSMEs operate at Six Sigma level of 3. And this means that around 30 to 40% of the revenue of our MSMEs get into the cost of poor quality. And when we know that majority of our MSMEs have their margins which are very thin, 10 to 20%, operating at Six Sigma level of 3 would erase their entire profitability and in fact would drive them into losses. So that is where the cost of having no standards, cost of not being organized is huge. And therefore the MSMEs need to adopt the right conditions. Now, how they can turn it around, how they can change it. So it is where standards and certifications come in. You would have seen, MSMEs operating in the conditions like the photographs on the left-hand side, right? No regard for safety or environment, no regard for systems. Sometimes, even when it comes to law or regulations, you would see, conditions where child labor is rampant, where, personal protective equipment is not being used and the employees suffer, with various illnesses. And therefore, standards and certifications become very, very important, because if we take safety as just one of the cogs in the wheel, it is basically a business risk. And if enterprises do not follow the safety norms or the standards or even sustainability standards, which is going to be now in near future mandatory, they will not survive. So survival itself will become questionable. So that is where standards and certifications will play a huge role. And that is where comes the game changer, that is the Z certification scheme for the MSMEs. Now Z stands for zero defect, zero effect. And this mantra of zero defect, zero effect was given by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi in 2014, where he said that it has to be zero defect, zero effect philosophy that our MSMEs must follow to be globally competitive. So zero defect means the quality should be of impeccable. There should be no defect in the products that are produced. And zero effect means while the MSMEs are manufacturing or producing those products, there should be no negative impact on the environment. So therefore, this mantra becomes very, very powerful by bringing in quality and sustainability together. Now this scheme, when we talk about zero defect, zero effect scheme, when Honorable Prime Minister gave this mantra of zero defect, zero effect, Quality Council of India being the body that has the mandate to take quality to the last mile, we started thinking, how do we make it possible? How do we create a roadmap for the MSMEs to follow this mantra of zero defect, zero effect? That's where we developed a model, a holistic integrated model for the MSMEs to follow so that they can move on the path of zero defect, zero effect. And Ministry of MSME adopted this model and weaved a scheme around it, which today is known as MSME Sustainable Z Certification Scheme. And the vision is very clear. Vision is to improve MSME manufacturing systems and processes, enhance MSME competitiveness, make them sustainable, and transform them into national and international champions. So the whole idea is to provide a roadmap to the MSMEs that would help them become role models, help them become the champions of tomorrow. And who are the MSMEs that are eligible to participate in this program? So it is all manufacturing MSMEs. Currently the scheme is open for manufacturing sector. So all the manufacturing MSMEs that have Udyam registration can participate in this program of zero defect, zero effect certification. Now when I say holistic model, so earlier as I mentioned that MSMEs struggle with standards, with systems. So one of the reasons that they also struggle is there is a plethora of standards and certifications. So if they have to go for sustainability, there would be X standard. If they have to go for safety, there would be Y standard, and so on and so forth. So for any large enterprise or a medium enterprise perhaps, it becomes easier because they have adequate resources, they have manpower, they have money to go for multiple standards or certifications. But for large number of MSMEs, they don't really understand or they know that what are the standards that I need to bring in. And that is where we created a holistic model which talks about workplace safety, which talks about quality management, energy management, it talks about environment management, it talks about risk management, it even talks about corporate social responsibility. Although it doesn't have to do anything with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs regulation, it is basically to help MSMEs understand that they also are supposed to be socially accountable. And that is how we created this holistic model. It is a 3-level model where first level is basically the nudging of the MSMEs towards quality journey, and that is Z Bronze. Intermediate level is Z Silver, and the highest certification level is Gold. And it is a step-by-step movement of an MSME from Bronze to Gold, or for the MSMEs that are prepared enough, they can directly apply for Silver or Gold levels. And during this entire process, the MSME is taken towards journey of excellence on safety, on quality and productivity excellence, and finally through Gold, when everything is weaved together, it brings reliability and sustainability excellence as well. So this becomes a very holistic, integrated model, a proven model, because we have got within just 2.5 to 3 years of launch of this scheme, we've got more than 3,15,000 MSMEs that are certified on Z, and we are still counting. Now, having said that, Z is not just about certification, it is an improvement journey towards excellence. So unlike any other standards, because the whole idea of Z is improvement of our MSMEs, the whole idea is to take them to the next level where they can perform better, they can become more competitive. The scheme has an inbuilt component of hand-holding, that is consultancy. So if an MSME thinks that, okay, I don't have necessary resources or manpower who can actually help me implement the systems that are required by Z standard, they can opt for handholding, that is consultancy. And this is a period of around 3 to 4 months of consultancy where expert consultants, they are assigned to those MSMEs who want them, and they work on training of the people, building their capabilities within the MSME. They help them with the right kind of documentation systems. They help them strengthen the existing processes and systems, and they also help them establish the new systems or processes that are required by the Z standard. So therefore, I say that it is not just a certification, but an improvement journey towards excellence. Now, there are multiple benefits. Of course, you all know, you all come from the quality fraternity. So you all know that there are multiple benefits of implementing any system. And with Z, because it is a holistic integrated program, it not only makes an organization operationally efficient, but also helps them become superior in quality. Because of reduction in rejections, they also move towards higher revenues. So basically, Z is a mark of trust, which helps an MSME become, a kind of most sought after enterprise by the larger enterprises or their customers, so that their revenues grow up. And finally, because they are also, the standard talks about sustainability, they are perceived as a responsible enterprise. So it is all about quality, safety, environment, sustainability, and being a responsible enterprise. Now, there are multiple incentives, because government has seen this certification program as a very powerful tool. Therefore, government has come up with multiple incentives, one of them being financial assistance in testing systems product certification. Now, because many of you here would be from inspection agencies, certification bodies, NABCB accredited agencies, NABL accredited labs are here. One of the benefits for the MSMEs is that if they have NABCB accredited certification or NABL accredited, they get their testings done at NABL accredited labs, the MSME would get an incentive or a reimbursement of up to 50,000 rupees. So that is where I would request all of you to promote this scheme, because this is about developing our MSMEs, empowering them and making them competitive. So please do ensure that you are supporting this program by creating more awareness, and also handholding support I have explained. There's also an incentive of up to 3 lakh rupees for certified MSMEs. If the consultant recommends that they need to go for a zero effect solution, any equipment, any device that would bring down their energy consumption, anything that would bring down their pollution or carbon footprint, for that, if they purchase a technology up to 3 lakh rupees, would be given as a financial support by the government. Having said that, Z is all about building the trust. And this is where here we have trust multipliers for MSMEs. One, this is a government program backed by the government, Ministry of MSME. It has the assessors or the assessments that happen, they happen through NABCB accredited agencies, and therefore this is another level of trust that we add, and all these agencies are accredited, and there is no scope for anyone who's non-accredited by NABCB. So therefore these are force multipliers. And finally, the certificate is not only recognized by the Ministry of MSME, but multiple partners. As you could see that we have railways that has come up with incentives for Z certified MSMEs because they trust this mark. There are 19 banks that have announced concessions in processing fee and rate of interest. And there are 22 state governments that have announced incentives for Z certified MSMEs in their state industrial policies. So this shows that how we have developed trust through Z certification program. And even there are multiple partners coming in, like for example on Trade Connect portal, Z certified MSMEs are showcased. On PM Gati Shakti, Z certified MSMEs would be mapped, and there are multiple corporates that are joining hands with us to adopt Z for their supply chain. And this is the website, www.z.msme.gov.in. You can get all the information there, and please make sure that you support the program through your customers. And finally, I'll rest my presentation with these words: in the world full of choices, the only differentiator is quality. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shukla, for highlighting the role of not only the Z certifications, the category Z certification has, as well as how this accredited conformity assessment bodies are helping to MSME to grow up. With this, I'll move to my next session, which is on accredited verification and how they are supporting this industry to become the net zero. And for this, I would like to call Dr. K.M. Iyer, And just wanted to introduce him, like he is a PhD in metallurgical engineer, and he has been instrumental in all GHG verification standards. And not only this, he has involved in several standards to develop the GHG and carbon footprints. So over to you, Dr. Iyer.
Thank you so much. Am I audible to all? Yeah. Okay, great. So first off, thank you everyone for inviting me here on this stage. Second, I apologize. I'm keeping you from lunch. I'm the last speaker. You mean this somewhere in my legacy, I'm either the first speaker after lunch or I'm the last speaker before lunch. So either way, I am disturbing people's happiness, so to speak. And the topic that I work on also disturbs people's happiness, GHG accounting. This is something which, it can be a royal pain in the you-know-where, but it's necessary and it's important. So here we go. Net zero. What do we mean by net zero? Net zero means balancing the amount of greenhouse gases that we emit with the greenhouse gases that we capture. So everything that we emit has to be captured. Organizations have committed to net zero, cities have committed to net zero, countries have committed to net zero. So there is a global mandate that all nations should become net zero. Different countries have chosen different guidelines, including India. So becoming net zero is necessary, and especially so for MSMEs, because ultimately they are the last link in the chain. The one, as has already been mentioned by all the speakers here, largely ignored, lack of resources. So it behoves on everyone who use these MSMEs as part of their supply chain to make sure that they are made aware of these things. Otherwise, for India to achieve net zero any time in the foreseeable future is going to be very, very difficult. Now, what are GHG emissions? These are gases in the atmosphere that raise the surface temperature of the planet. So these gases absorb the radiations. Now, we all know we get radiation from the sun. We also know that the earth radiates back. Okay? So what these gases do is they allow the sun's radiations to come in because they come in at a lower, small wavelength, but they don't allow the earth's radiation to go out, because of which the earth gets warmed up. So the warming up doesn't happen because of the sun's rays. The warming up happens because the earth's rays are not allowed to escape. That's what the greenhouse gases do. So which are these gases? And I'm going quickly so that I don't keep you too far from your lunch. There are 7 identified GHG gases or families: carbon dioxide, methane, N2O, SF6, NF6, CFCs, and HFCs. There is an 8th GHG gas, and the largest contributor. Fortunately for us, that gas, though it is highly abundant, is not as devastating. And that gas is water vapor. Water vapor is a GHG gas. I mean, not many people know this, not many people work on water vapor. But we all know, on the days when the humidity is high, we feel agitated. We sweat a lot. We feel, we say, I'm feeling stuffy today. No, I don't feel great today. Why is that? Because of high humidity in the atmosphere. Because that's the effect that a greenhouse gas has. But the plus side to this is the half-life of H2O, 9 hours. That's all. So within a day, it's down to 1/8 of where it would be. So we're okay. And that's why it's not included in this list. But we all experience the effects of having high water vapor in the atmosphere anytime we go out, especially during summers or during humid days. Now, these GHG emissions ISO classifies under 3 categories. We have direct emissions, we have indirect energy emissions, and then we have other indirect emissions. So I'll take a few minutes to, not few minutes, we don't have that much time, but maybe a minute to talk about each of these. So, those of you who have been in this area know about scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions. These are what the GHG protocol talks about. ISO talks about direct and indirect emissions. So, direct emissions are emissions which are in the control of any entity. I drive a car. The emissions that come because of burning of the fuel, that is my direct emissions. I have control on that. I can choose to go by public transport, I can choose to walk, I can choose to bicycle. So I have a choice whether I want to burn the fuel or not. So that's direct emissions which are in my control. And what direct emissions are, when we talk of direct emissions, we think burn, because this is fossil fuel which is being burnt. Whether it's coal in a power plant, whether it is fuel oil, petrol, diesel, natural gas. Whenever we buy these and then we burn these, we are having direct emissions. That's the easiest way to explain this. In addition to this, we also have fugitive emissions from refrigerators, air conditioners. Every year we call the service guy, he comes in, says, "Saab leak ho gaya hai, gas bharna hai, theek hai bhai, bhar ke jao." So what is that leakage? That is all direct emissions. Because what does he put inside your air conditioning? CFC and HFC. That's what goes into your air conditioner. So if there is a leak in your system, it goes out into the atmosphere, it's a GHG emission. So these are direct emissions. The second category is indirect energy emissions. What are indirect energy emissions? Predominantly electricity. We are powered here with electricity. The bulk of the electricity comes from fossil fuel plants, whether it is coal-fired, whether it is oil-fired, natural gas. These are the power plants that produce electricity. And we had this incident, I don't know, maybe all of you know about this, but it happened about a month ago in Europe, where systems shut down because of electric failure. What happened there? They have reached a state where they've moved away almost entirely from fossil fuels and to totally renewable energy. But the problem with those kinds of energy systems is that there is no backup. So if you have an extremely cloudy day, if for some reason you don't have the battery backup, if there is any mechanical failure, the power trips. And that's what happened. And coming back up online becomes difficult. So I'm not saying I'm advocating fossil fuels here, obviously not. But totally doing away with fossil fuels also is not a solution. We need to be judicious about this in how we generate our electricity. But coming back to indirect energy emissions, for most of us, it's the electricity that we buy. So indirect energy emissions are energy emissions that you buy. The first one was burn, the second one was buy. What is the third one? Other indirect emissions. These are all other emissions that happen. So whether it is mining for raw materials, extracting from nature, transportation, employee commute, infrastructure, all these, for producing this, there are going to be emissions. Me standing here and speaking, I am breathing. That's an indirect energy emission for the organizers. Getting me here, sending me back, all these are indirect emissions. We could have done this online, just saying. So you could have reduced your carbon footprint because of that. But, so these are indirect emissions. But the key point here is, these are beyond your control. These are beyond your control. As an MSME, or as any industry, or as a service provider, or as anyone doing any enterprise, you are You are dictated by where your suppliers are. You are dictated by where your consumers are. You cannot, it's very rare. There are systems. There are industries who are, say, we will only work within a 100-kilometer radius. There are. We don't want to grow too much. We're happy where we are, but we will make sure that we stay within this geography. Happens. 99.9% of us don't work that way. So it's beyond our control. So when we are talking about GHG emissions, I like to call it the 3 Bs: burn, buy, and beyond. So, and the sad part of this is, the other indirect emissions often account for 70% of our total emissions. And this is where MSMEs come in. They are usually suppliers to larger organizations. They usually buy their raw materials from these larger organizations. They probably do some conversion, and then they supply systems, subsystems, or parts back to the larger organizations. Unfortunately, with no background in these areas, they are stuck. And with regulations coming in, export regulations, CBAM is rolling in less than 6 months. So Q1 2026, Indian industries exporting to Europe have to declare their carbon footprint. They in turn will start hammering the MSMEs to provide accurate data. And if the MSMEs don't have a means of providing this data, they stand to either pay penalties on already wafer-thin margins, which was talked about, or they stand to lose orders. So either way, it's a recipe for disaster. So we need to make sure that this message goes down to them. And this is where we need to start looking seriously, not just on emissions, but also on reductions. And there are several technological things that I hear about. You must have heard about CO2 to ethanol, CO2 to carbon capture and sequestration in underground mines. Let me say very clearly and unequivocally, the longest lasting solution for emission reduction is afforestation. Nothing can beat nature. Okay? Let's be honest about it. And let's not beat around the bush and say, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. It's all a bunch of BS. Nothing any man-made technology can do can improve on what nature has already provided for us. Okay? Finally, this is where accreditation bodies come in. This is their role, validation and verification. Validation is looking at projects for carbon reduction. And this is before a project is done. So this is right in the conception stage, making sure that the assumptions that are made are realistic, are reasonable, and it will achieve the goals that is set out to achieve. And then verification. Verification is actually now you're working with data. You look at you look at the data, and then you determine accurately how much has been emitted, how much has been captured, what is the net emission that has happened, or the net reduction in emission that has happened. So these are activities that are to be carried out for any GHG statement. Without a validation or a verification, the statement has no value. So that has to be done. This is a mandatory requirement. Any organization, and I know we've talked about this, especially in India, there is very little verification. People are putting out sustainability reports with no verification. So this is necessary. And coming to the bodies that can do this, there is a need for these bodies to meet with certain guidelines, and that's where organizations like NABC play a role. They have to ensure that the VVBs comply with certain basic requirements. It has to be a legal entity. They have to be impartial. And finally, they should have the wherewithal to bear financial losses. It hasn't happened so far, doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. If there is an error in your statement which leads to monetary losses to a third party, the VVB is liable to the third party for losses that happen. I mean, we talked about patient safety. How many organizations, how many patients have actually sued hospitals for loss of life? In India, 0. But that is a responsibility of the VVB that actually accredited that lab or that accredited that hospital, saying that they are good for patient safety. There is a gap. That gap has to be bridged. That is the role for the VVB. That is the role that the VVB has to play to make sure, and that's where accreditation is important. Without accreditation, you will never bridge that gap. And if you don't bridge that gap, there will always be a question mark on any statement that we make. So this is this we can always go through, but there are several standards on GHG gases and the flow between them. So this is what I had to say. Thank you so much, and won't keep you much longer from your lunch. Enjoy your lunch and have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Iyer, for highlighting the role of GHG accreditation and how it is acting as a bridge between these different projects, which is going to the net zero projects. And with this, we will conclude this session. And before this, I would like to invite Mr. Ananddeep Gupta, Joint Director, NABCB, to kindly facilitate Dr. Iyer. Please join us on the stage. Thank you, Anand. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we conclude this insightful technical session on accreditation empowering small and medium enterprises, I would like to take a moment to reflect on the rich perspective shared by our esteemed speakers. We have seen how credible certifications and verifications are not just about the compliance, but about enabling trust, innovation, and competitiveness. I sincerely thank each of our speakers, Dr. Reddy, Mr. Pankaj Johri, Mr. Sumit Kataria, Dr. Rohit Chawla, Dr. Ramanan Shukla, Dr. K.M. Iyer for their thought-provoking insights and contribution. I would also like to thank the organizing team of NABCB and NABL and QCI for curating this valuable session under this umbrella. As we move forward, let us contribute to build an ecosystem where quality is not just an aspiration, but a foundation. Thank you, and I wish you all a meaningful continuation of the day. So we can now pursue the lunch. It has been served downstairs. Thank you very much to all, and happy World Accreditation Day. Thank you so much.